dog game. The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Bred, the very first champion off-brand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Bred, the very first champion off-brand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Bred, the very first champion off-brand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
What up, everybody? What up? What up? What up? Big shout out to everybody out there in the Shark Tank. Big shout out to all my people out there on the back street. What up? Y'all know what time it is. It's Talk Shit Tuesday. Big shout out to all my people showing up tonight. Sorry we're a little late. I got grandkids in from out of town, and I got to get back here, and they just don't be moving fast enough. Big shout out to my man, Bloodthirst #1, aka Havoc 360 in the house. What up, fam? Big shout out to my man, Mr. Courtney Edwards. I see you, fam. Big shout out to the Mad Doctor. What up, fam? Who else I got down here? Big shout out to my man, Mr. Chico Nicholas in the house. What up, fam? My man, Double M Despo in the house. What up, fam? Okay, I want to give a big shout out to all my people out there on the back street. Hey, y'all don't forget to hit that like button. Over the we be hollering, talking about some things here lately. And tonight, I kind of named the conversation tonight Player's Choice. Tell you why I did that. Because one of the big things that we deal with when we was always talking about our past, we always talked about our mentors and everything, how important it was, get all that kind of information and you do what you do, and you kind of look at it and you got to understand they the ones who kind of set the mark as far as the levels was concerned. And we always tell y'all there's different levels to this game, and based on the levels that you was playing in determined the popularity of the amount of work that you put in. And I always felt like that was important because we was basically trying to copycat do everything that they were doing. But keep this in mind. Even for us then, not knowing a lot of the things that we didn't know, we can talk about now simply because, as time went on, we learned a lot more. So our levels was a little bit different simply because we was learning from fast lane people. We didn't really understand the simplicity of the normal things that your average dog man would go through. We knew about the care, the upkeep, because we dealt with dogs before. But then you don't know. You're so busy caught up in the breeding program and trying to imitate the quality of the dogs. So that's where we always gave our shout outs to James Pope because we had somebody who was not just familiar with the dogs but understood everything about the bloodlines and the traits and the characteristics that went with them. So I guess when I see a lot of the young guys out there now and they're talking about their breeding programs, and yeah, true enough, we came from an age of where a lot of the dogs that you guys might find in your fourth or fifth generation, you gotta look back on that and say, okay, those you putting them dogs, the actual dogs back in our time, the times that we was out moving around and being able to see and the quality and the things that they were able to do. So I always felt like in our conversations do we ever emphasize the characteristics and the things? It's like kind of like mandatory, regardless of what level you are on. But in the same process, your ability to become a master, conquer those abilities as you deal with these dogs helped you in the long run as far as what you were trying to obtain out of them. I had this little article here, this little thing I'm gonna share with y'all right quick. Here, let me see if this is it right here. Yeah, this part right here. I had this. Let me get this back over here. See if I can get it to share for y'all right quick. Yeah, like this right here. Okay, now this little article right here. It's not an article. It's something that I had took down when I was doing my notes, but I got it from somewhere else. And it was like, can the American Pit Bull Terrier breedings of the past help breedings of the future? And I think if you look back on the history, man, the breeding program was the key to everything that everybody was doing. And I'm talking about, you go back to the Kobe's and the Lightners and just work your way into the future. This breeding program thing is, I think it sets, to me, it sets dog men apart. It really does. Okay. It's like here it says, yes, the breeding history of the American Pit Bull Terrier can be significantly influence future breedings decisions. Here's how. Identifying desirable traits by studying the pedigree of successful and well-adjusted American Pit Bull Terriers from the past. Breeders can identify lines that consistently produce dogs with desirable traits like temperament, which covers the calmness, stability, trainability, prey drive, and lack of aggression towards humans. Their health, freedom from common genetic health issues like hip dysplasia, heart problems, and eye disease. Conformation, physical characteristics that align with the breed standard if and when it is applicable. I'm here, right quick here. Hold on, let me quick here. Here we go. Avoiding undesirable traits. Conversely, breeders can learn from the past by identifying lines that have historically produced dogs with undesirable traits like aggression, unpredictable or excessive aggression towards people or other animals, health problems, high incidence of genetic disorders, behavioral issues, anxiety, fear-based aggression, or other serious behavioral problems. Outcrossing and inbreeding, understanding the past breeding. What's that? Outcrossing and line breeding, understanding the past breeding history can guide decisions on outcrossing, introducing unrelated bloodlines to increase genetic diversity and reduce the risk of inherited disorders. Line breeding, breeding closely related dogs to concentrate desirable traits, but done carefully to avoid the negative consequences of the inbreeding. Okay. Important things to important consideration. Ethical breeding. Responsible breeders prioritize the health and the well-being of the dogs above all else. This includes genetic testing, screening for known genetics, diseases, genetic testing, screening for known genetic diseases, temperament testing, evaluating the temperament of the potential breeding dogs, socializing and training, providing proper socialization and training to ensure well-adjusted dogs. Changing breed standards. Breed standards can evolve over time. Breeders need to be aware of any changes and adjust their breeding programs accordingly. It's critical to remember that individual dogs can vary significantly, even within the same line. Careful evaluation of each individual is essential. That part right there, that changing the breed standards. Let me read that again. Breed standards can evolve over time. Breeders need to be aware of any changes and adjust their breeding program accordingly. It's critical to remember that individual dogs can vary significantly even within the same line. Careful evaluation of each individual is essential. By carefully studying the past and making informed decisions, breeders can strive to produce healthy, well-adjusted American Pit Bull Terriers that are a credit to the breed. Now, I bring that up, and the reason I push that issue because those little, what we seem like are like, they're like little things, but they're it's not, it's not little at all. I mean, it's so damn important that I don't think even most stresses it, the little things like that enough, simply because I see so many guys, and just based on conversation and then sit back listening, you know, they don't understand, for me anyway, the importance of the individual, the dog himself. Most always say he's gonna breed, he was always breeding the champions and ROMs, and that was just him and KP's thing. But they took in close and clear consideration that every time they made a move like that, what they were expecting and what they was really trying to get out of it. And then the important part of it, for I always watch, you know, because I was there, but I sat back and watched because Mo took that individual time with each dog. I don't want people to think we just had a yard of dogs and the only time that we seen them dogs is when we was doing something, because that is not true. That was an everyday job for us. Kids too. Get up, take the dogs out, walk. I tell you this. This is how hands-on we were with these dogs. Now you notice that we took a look at each dog and addressed them each on an individual basis. Like even when it came down to our our brood bitches or dogs that are stud dogs. We had future ideals. What was coming next. There wasn't everything that came out of one litter that we felt would work. Remember, we was taking the best out of a litter and a group of dogs and going from there. We wasn't just taking advantage, or he got a littermate sister over here, or littermate brother, he might be the producer. We never looked at it that way because we were stuck in that world of we're gonna be breeding to the best, and we weren't gonna be doing nothing but keeping the best to repeat that same process to make the best. So we was real you know, real involved in the quality of the dogs that we were using at the time, which I always felt was important. Now, I know a lot of guys be out there getting their little breed thing on, which is, you know, it's important, real important, but are you getting what you want out of it? You know, I see a lot of guys, you got to have a good sales pitch to pull off some of the things, that, get out there these days. And I always felt that, if you're going to be doing it that way, you might as well take advantage of whatever you're doing and however you're doing it with. Stop and bring some activity to the conversation. You know, that's why, I always talk about the running up the wall, the treadmill. It's got to have some type of work to show, you know, the unique ability of this one certain individual dog. Now, when we was dealing with a lot of the other kennels, I always looked at them like, what made them do some of the things that I watched them do. We talk about people like Sheriff Powell. Remember, he had them TNT dogs, but think about that's what he was more comfortable with. It wasn't much that he didn't know about that line of dogs. Mr. Floyd Boudreaux, he has his line. Everybody who created their lines, and I'm just going to speak from the guys that I knew, being that we kind of, grew up around people who were doing fast lane things. How what was they thinking when they were trying to run a line of dogs? What all came into it? Now, we had some that actually was creating their lines, like Hardcore, Stone City, Eminem, Hardcore. And then you had them ones like Pro Set. Pro Set went out and bought dogs. Malik. A lot of guys, they didn't really have a breeding program. They just basically went out, they bought good dogs, and then you take them bought good dogs, and then you do some breeding, And a lot of the ones who were just taking a good dog and they're going to just ride off the name of that good dog. And I kind of felt like that's what my man Victor was doing in the end once he left the country, because you had a good dog, and then you was based on the line that you had created such a hype that they flooded the market. Well, I call it flooding the market. You guys can pull up this Mayday's pedigree, and I think it's over 1,500 some offspring off the damn dog. Now, I ain't never known a dog that didn't have no straw able to do that much. So we just got to go based on what we see. But reality got to step in and kick you in the head sometimes and say, think about that. But when you hear a lot of, I hear people be like, well, I smashed this Mayday dog, or this Mayday dog. Well, there's a whole lot of Mayday dogs out of 1,500 and something offsprings that I'm pretty sure that some of y'all, was out in them areas, and regardless of what the situation, just because it was off of Mayday did not guarantee you that you were going to have the success of other people. So if you're just breeding this same type of piece of shit of a Mayday dog, thinking that you're fixing to get, something out of that piece of shit that I'm gonna just call it what it is, and you think you're gonna get something better out of it, that takes me back to what I was trying to get, read to y'all earlier about look at the small things. Look at the traits. Look at all the things that you're trying to keep that's going to make your shit better, and eliminate all the shit, it's not going to serve a purpose, or it's just a bad trait. See, there's a difference between how some people was handling that and how others were. And for me, I always felt like that's what set the levels of the game as far as even in the match world. You know, you you wanted to step your game up, you would be willing to go anywhere to prove not just something to somebody else, but to prove it to yourself. Because when it's your body or work, you know, the real ones, they they they're caught up in what they're doing. There's not much that they don't know about this animal, you know. And then you take it when all the stuff that comes along with that, conditioning, taking the medical, taking care of all those things. You'll see that the more experienced fast lane guys, they were able to do this at a phenomenal rate and have great success based on how they actually care for a dog. And each dog was different, and they would always handle them individually different, regardless of how it was bred. They took it for what it was worth. I, I heard my man Tom make a comment something like that, you know, because you can't really blame the breeder for selling the dogs that don't work out. That part generally flies over my head. But being, you know, we weren't breeders, so it just wasn't something that we was really paying close attention to. But I look at some of the things as time went on, how important it was as a person who was breeding dogs and selling dogs, how that could just ruin you before you even got started. You know, that only works for so long before you have to change up what you're doing. One thing that you know, we've had everything from Bosco to Shirley and Lopez's Buster. We've had all those dogs and handled each bloodline for what it was worth. And I guess over the years and based on our ability to get better, the bloodline didn't say the same. We didn't get stuck into that Eli and Roscoe shit that we was dealing with in our early years. Even though we had some damn good bred dogs, they had they had everything it took to be great dogs. We just didn't have everything we needed to make them great. That's where the learning process came. Because as we got better, you would think that the line of dogs we were using got better. Because our way of looking at the dogs in the breeding program changed with our growth, our knowledge, our experience. Now you can go back and you just listen to other dog men tell their story. And you will notice all of them gonna have the same thing in common. What sets them all apart? Well, we're not going to be talking about the one guy who had champion so and so, and that's the only thing that he ever had out of that dog. He's going to be, yeah, he had champion so and so, yeah, he was a good dog, but that primarily where that stops at compared to like somebody else who got champion so and so, and he's got another champion so and so in the yard, and a female champion so and so in the yard. He has the ability to create these champions on their yard and make a name for his yard based on his amount of work. So I would think he would have better dogs coming out of his yard based on what he has on his yard. A lot of the older dog men took advantage of that. Maybe that's why Beeline did the things that they do, back in the day. Maybe that's why people today, you know, have fake matches, or create fake papers because it's a persona that you're trying to portray to the next individual buyer. Now, does that, for me, that does not help the movement and the forward process of making this breed better based on those type of outcomes. Um, we had a way of putting those type of tests, those type of outcomes to the test. That's what made it exciting. That's what made men put that much time and work because they wanted to see what their body of work looked like. And yeah, it got to the point to where you can only test your body of work against somebody who was basically on a level that you're trying to achieve, just to see if your work can stand up to that type of experience, that type of dog man. I don't think that we have put enough emphasis on the quality of the dog. For us, the quality of the dog was always going to be based on what it did in the box and what it did in the breeding program. At least we had something to weigh it against. That was our what we call our analytics. We can pretty much chart out the success of a dog. Like when we read about Yellow, when we read about Jeep, some of these great breedings that I'm pretty sure that other men, you know, they had over the years, but it worked for them. When you're spending money and your time doing this, the simplest things that you can do is stick to the basics. True believer in sticking to the basics. Because that's where the master of something comes from. For me, the small things. I call it the basics, the ethical breeding, the changing of the breed standard, the individual variations. I mean, being able to just look at the things, the simple things, and then trying to work from there. Because understanding the undesirable traits, aggression, health problems, all that is like that's hands-on when you raising puppies and shit. But when you're dealing with a grown dog, a dog that has come of age, there's certain things that it has to have in place. And some of them certain things that I used to realize from other dog men that had good dogs, what I would be thinking was a good dog. Like, I don't know that dog, I think, was that Supernet that had boots? And he went 2 hours and something minutes. 4 hours and something minutes, man, and he got rid of the dog. Now you would think a dog like that, bred the way he was bred, game as hell like that you would be all over. You know, he would something like that would never leave the yard. you know. But then got to talk about the dog man who had the dog. Go look at his history. Look at the champions and the grand champions he's had over the years. It would be easy for you to understand why he was willing to give up a dog that was showed that much gameness, that much determination. Because for him, it took too long. To some, I guess that would be like, man, if I had something like that, I wouldn't have never done nothing like that. Well, that's one of the points I'm trying to make. If you had blessings about a person who's able to know what they really, really, truly want, moves like that become easy. He did what he's supposed to do, did what he was bred to do, but still wasn't up to my, took him too long to get it done. I mean, hell, that's just, still a good dog. I can't take nothing away from the dog, but the fact is, it wasn't everything that he was looking for. It wasn't all about that 4 hours and something. It was about the fact that he was there. There was some guys who was, I mean, even we was petty like that. I mean, we was always trying. I mean, you was getting looked at sideways if you couldn't do damage in an hour. You was getting that side eye. 30 minutes is a long time when you stop and think about it. You know, that's a long time. An hour to me was a long time. But I can truly say, in our career, we wasn't. We've been over them points, but not as much as we was under them points. We did it. A lot of our shit wasn't. We was barely seeing an hour out of almost 50 something, 40, 50 something, you know, matches. But then that goes back to the quality of the dogs we was using. You start using, you know, and understanding what you want. It was easy for Mo to be letting dogs like Bucko go, dogs like Maytu go, Shaquille and Naya, ugly. These are dogs that was on the yard that he just know. There's no purpose here. And these dogs could go somewhere else and still, you know, be able to show that their worthiness, but then just wasn't worthy for that yard. That's why I call it a nice show, player's choice. Because regardless of what you're doing and how you're doing it, you're all going to find yourself dealing with the things that I started this show off about, and that is the simple things. Knowing what you want, understanding, and that you don't understand, just go back and check out people of the past. Look what they did. Look at their success. So there's no new wheels that can be created, when it comes down to the American Pit Bull Terrier, as far as, the breeding program. I think pretty much everything has at least been tried some type of way, somehow. And, outside the color changing sometimes, I don't see them coming out with, automatic short tails. We have our defects, our skin defects, our conformation defects. Yeah, these dogs come with many defects, but a lot of them defects come with a breeding program and how it was bred or something that's in the line. We all understand these things can happen; they do come up. My thing is, in order to be successful, You have to be able to take the best of the best and do something with it to show that, yeah, this dog is not only is it bred well, it has all the right traits and all the right attributes that I feel is necessary for them to get out and perform any job that I want them to do, whether it's tag training. I done seen them out there, tag training these pit bulls. We're not fans of it, but I'm not gonna knock anybody who does. Treadmill, dog gotta have wind with them long legs. They can, why you think of greyhound and cheetahs move fast as they are? Them little stubby pit bulls ain't gonna be running that mill like that big long lanky when you get up on that mill that will run it. That same big lanky ass dog, he ain't gonna be down there dragging that weight across the track. Might be great running up that wall or long distance jumping, but these are all the things that you can manipulate through a breeding program that you can make it work for yourself. Now, one of the things I was going to get in before I hand this over to Mo, we was going to be, somebody made a comment about the Red Boy, Jocko, and then the Eli, the Eli Carver stuff. Now, understanding we grew up around a lot of Eli dogs, some of the best. And I can truly tell you, over the years, if you read the stories about the bully sons of Eli Juniors, even Eli, and then go think and read the story about Ironhead. I don't, everybody's really be talking about Eli, but you'd be wondering, Ironhead was on the man's yard, and the man didn't even like the damn dog. But the best things that ever came off the yard came off that dog that he didn't like. As crazy as it sounds, but it's true. But go back and read the story. Remember, history took care of everything after the fact. But during those moments, that you got to put yourself at that moment that where Eli and them was being born, and the breeding of Ironhead, and how all that came into play, and how important that Ironhead dog was. See, back in our time, we wasn't really screaming Eli, we were screaming Ironhead. You had to get your hands on a real Ironhead dog to Carver. Well, we were still calling it Ironhead. Carver's Ironhead to appreciate that part of that breeding program, because we wasn't screaming Eli. It was all about Carver's Ironhead. But it was that to me it's a great story simply because the man really didn't like the dog. But the dog ended up being more popular than anything, basically, any line that he actually created that came off that yard, because you're gonna pick Eli up, that's what you're gonna pick it up and run with it, starting from there. But history took care of that. But we talking about the great Maurice Carver. You know what I'm saying? Was he really intending to go that way, or did he notice and he seen something? Because one thing I can say about Maurice was a dog fighter. So I put him in, he's not like one who's just selling dogs. He's creating it, and he's using his own shit. So you got to give him his respect and his props due to what he was doing in that era. But again, it's just one of them things that where I just want you guys to stop and just think about it. When you go out and look at your yard, and think about that monster breeding. There's something that you're gonna have on the yard that will bring you the attributes and the success that you have actually spent into these dogs. Like, for me, the guy who sold a damn, I think he sold a bully for $1 million or made $1 million selling bullies. Man, if I had a pit bull that can make $1 million, I mean, if I had a pit bull like Hulk or a Malinois like I think Monkey, see, to me, those are just great dogs. Why? Because they're talented, they're very well trained, and when you start having a public talk about them based on them, just they work, man. You can sit back and feed your family off the reputation of a dog. See, that's where I'm always saying there's hope in any and whatever you do in life. But when it comes down to these damn bulldogs, they can be just as popular as any bully and any Malinois in the right person's hands. It's just a matter of who's willing to put in the work and who's willing to treat it as if your life depended on it. Because, I mean, I had an old story about old man Tudor back in the day. Remember, I told you I had an old man that worked out there in Peru, rich old dude. He wrote a book about even the old man got Tudor in his book. Yeah, old man Tudor. And this was a cattleman. But see, Earl was a boot shine. He was a bootlegger too. Old man knew that much about him too. But Earl had a lot of influence when it came to them dogs. The man had over 100 something dogs. I mean, how could he go wrong? Back in that time period, you know, I think he was feeding his family based on and running that liquor, you know, and no different than what we was doing, some of these guys doing today. Back then they had liquor and, prohibition was in and they had to make it the best way they could. When the economy wasn't right, they had to feed their families. Well, ain't no different. History doesn't change that much. Names change, drugs change, but money stayed the same. My thing is being able to sit back and say, you know, Tudor is damn near 50, 60 years ago. And I'm 60 something years old. I'm crossing the line going into 70. There's been a whole lot of different names and shit that has changed since then. But the greatness of the dogs, it might be a lot more quieter as time goes on because of the law. But I still believe that, you know, they they're gonna always have a future. We might not have a lot of them kind of dog men, but it only takes a few to get it right. Think about how this whole thing started. There wasn't a lot of them back then. As time took off, became a lot of them. So times can change, names will change, but the dog was always going to be the same. It just depends on who is doing what and how they doing it. Hey man, I put that link up because see, I know I see my man. I see. Let me give my shout outs right quick. Let me give a big shout out to my man, the stoic dog man in the house. What up, fam? Big shout out to my man Anthro. I hear you, fam. I see you. My man Anthro says Ironhead was Carver's favorite dog, but the bully son cross dictated his sales, so he sold Ironhead to E.T. Kennels in the Virgin Islands, where his great grandson and throwbacks IBM retired. Yeah. Well, Anthro, I don't know how old you are. I mean, again, I don't ever question anything that what other people might hear us say. But if you notice, and I think somebody did make a comment to me about it because you know, I made the comment and I'm like, well, I was under the impression he really didn't like the dog. But I'm listening when you say it was his favorite dog. Well, if it was his favorite dog, and I'm gonna reply the way somebody replied this to me, if this was his favorite dog, give me something else that Carver himself produced off of Ironhead. Anything else? Remember, he had a yard full of dogs. So I put that out there because that same statement, that same comment that you made, I've heard somebody else make that comment, but I heard another older dog man reply to, well, if he loved him all that damn much, he sold the damn dog. And then what else on the yard did he ever breed off of Ironhead? We still talking about Maurice Carver. But that's always up for debate because, different strokes for different folks. But I live in a time where, a lot of the dog men that I knew, they knew him. Some of their stories kind of be like, think about it, we was 19, 20 years old, dealing with, you know, a lot of them Carolina dog men. You know how many stories we hear and talk about from these men right out the horse's mouth? You know, Snooty was the Ironhead dog. Think about it. Not like I'm not, talking to the man who had Snooty. You think he wouldn't know about the damn dog? Yeah, I always wanted. I had a chance to ask the man right there. Hey, he lost once, but you took Snooty out again. You know, so I wanted to know. I mean, what the hell? What would make you take him back out? But then you got to look at the dogs that Snooty was going into. Who beat him? These were just some stories. But as you remember, we're young then. But by the time we 28, 29 years old, look, man, you get a chance to see, well, them same Eli dogs, we start putting time clocks on them. You start realizing that what everybody seems to be saying was running hand in hand. Why? We're not like the average people that talk this shit. Remember, we had these dogs. No, we're not the average person and talk about what another person said. No, we were actually down there dealing with the people who had the damn dogs. And let the history speak for itself. Well, if they wasn't about shit, well, we never said they wasn't about shit. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that they can bite hard and got all that fire, but you put something up in there that's gonna stand with them and withstand that first clock, all of a sudden you're gonna start seeing a different type of dog. And we had Eli dogs. Remember, we had Molly B and Snooty dogs. We had Rascal dogs. We've had Jeep dogs. Come on. Can't nobody tell me about, come on. We can tell you because we had the shit on the yard. We was winning with the shit. Country that had the damn dogs. They have withstood the test of time. Why? Is it because they were Carver dogs? I don't think so. I think it was just a good breeding. Time took care of itself, but again, everybody has their own version and their own way of thinking about these certain stories. But these stories aren't meant to do anything but give you another way of going out and looking at some of this stuff and calling it for what you see for yourself. see here. I want to give a big shout out to my man RBG Lone Wolf. I see you, fam. Yep, let me run through these here right quick here. Yo, big shout out to Big Saw. What up, fam? The Rabbit Man. What up, fam? Self-made Kennels in the house representing. What up, fam? Yo, show enough. What's happening, fam? Quarterback Kennels. I see you, fam. Mr. O in the house. What up, fam? The Mad Doctor. What up, fam? VBX. What up, fam? Welcome to the show, fam. Welcome to the Shark Tank. I'll take care of you when I get over there. Hold on. Hear that there. Let's see who else I got here. What's that? BXK Bullies. Ballin' 11 ways. What up, baby? Big shout out to my man, Mr. William McNeil in the house. What up, fam? Talk of the City Kennels. What up, fam? I think I'm all caught up here. I'm going to turn this thing here over to Mo right quick and let him get busy. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Hemi James. What up, fam? All right, Hemi, I see you said, however you choose to cut it, Carver was an essential Daibo Black Woody Willow breeder. Well, that's true. I mean, who had Daibo? Let's talk about that. And if you wanted to talk about that, you kind of know why that conversation gets cut out. Because again, you know, as the story is told between Carver and Tudor. Come on now. I ain't trying to tell the whole damn story. I'm just trying to just put it out there to where, you know, there was different strokes for different folks. Back in that time, I'm talking about some of the greats to ever do it. And look at the things that they went through. We know we're on that kind of level. Yeah, they all got different stories when it comes down to different dogs. So it's not about me caring to miss it. It's just, it's not relevant for me at this point in time because beef between Carver and Tudor. They definitely had some type of relationship. Come on. That's just like Kobe talk about he ain't had nothing to do with the damn old family red-nosed dogs. When you stop and think about that shit and go back and look for yourself, you know damn well that was a damn lie. But why wouldn't a man want that? I can't sit there and tell you the story why he felt like that. But there's a story about it. You know, Mo probably know more about it than I do. But the fact is, he still denied the shit. But if you go back and look at Leitner and some of those other guys and what Leitner, how them guys who actually gave the old family red nose name, where those dogs actually come from, they're going to follow them back. They all came out of Kobe's yard. Not all of them. I'm going to just say between Leitner had a little bit to do with that because of what his relationship with Mr. Kobe. But there's little things like that just makes the changes. Not only address them because I'm not trying to just tell a whole damn story about, you know, some of the inner workings of some of these dog mans. We talk about that a lot when we talk about the relationship of the dogs and other men with the dogs. Remember, most of the times everybody was hooking up and some of these great breeds was happening because these great men was coming together and they was making it happen. And that's where the sauce was coming from. But that came far and in between. Because when you start getting a lot of people out there trying to get something done, remember, only the cream gonna rise to the top. And, you know, that's the only time you're gonna see it. The last thing you want to do is see it get watered down and start falling back down to the bottom. That's why I call it tonight's player's choice. Because everybody had a different way of picking their own poison. Pick your poison, and that determine the type of dogs you had on the yard, the type of dog man that you were, and the type of dog man that you became based on those two attributes, you and the dog. The rest, history took care of. So I'm gonna let Mo get into this right quick. I'm gonna be over there on the other end. I need everybody to hit that like button coming in. And look, I got the link up. I know a lot of y'all be doing a lot of typing, and I know I be missing a lot because I don't really be paying attention because to the chat sometimes I really don't be really wanting to miss nothing. But it's still one of them things I would like some of you guys to step up and tell us the stories. Let me see right here. Anthro says he agreed, Hemi, but the end, Ed Crenshaw that might be in the past added that dime. I imagine that's where Stompanato got that old Kobe look from. That's just, if you ever talk about the Stompanato dog, I remember the Stompanato dog actually came out of, I think, somebody out of Chicago. Somebody up there had him, like I had him. I think my mom knows the story. Mr. Mason, LA Dream. I know you was on the phone with him that one night, so Mo know about them kind of conversations. LA Dream, he was around back that time. He's really the one who had told us about, gave us the whole Stompanato story. Mo can tell you a lot better than I do, but I have a little small understanding of it. But even looking at that situation, the time period from when Kobe was doing what he was doing, and we way in Chicago, think about that. That's a whole lot of good breeding going on for Stompanato to even still have that Kobe look. But they say if you look close enough, there's no Kobe in it. Now, who's to say if that's what you're trying to say? It might be in the page, about that diamond to it. Hey, we don't know. But it's a whole different story because we know we can find Stompanato in a whole lot of papers. One thing about traits, you can't. Genetics is genetics. You know how we feel about that shit. Time takes care of the bullshit, regardless of what that damn paper might say. Time will take care of that part too. But here you go, Mo. Take this over right here. Yeah, because of that look, right? Yeah, yeah. You take care of this, I'm gonna be over there. Why do it? What up, everybody? Yeah. Huh?
What's up, everybody? Just hollering at y'all, trying to do something. At the same time, Mike want me to holler at y'all. Let's go ahead and talk. Okay.
What up, everybody? I mean,
Yeah, everybody was talking about the importance of breeding. I still believe that. Can you hear me, Mike? I don't know. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1. Everybody, hey, y'all can hear me. Somebody put a thumbs up because it sounds like I'm in a dead room. Trying to make sure y'all can hear me. Mic check. Everybody can hear. Mic check 1. Y'all hear me?
all right, fellas. While he working on that, can you hear me talking over there?
Yeah, I can hear you talking.
Okay. I don't know why that mic ain't showing up. Yeah. Well, I'm working with mom and try to get this mic situation together for him. Seems like y'all can't hear him. Hold on.
Yo. Mic check. Can I get a mic check? Mic check 1. That's what I'm saying. I'm asking anybody if they can hear me. Y'all hear me? Somebody give me thumbs up. Okay, I see a thumbs up. This Mo. Okay, I see you, Breaker. If you can hear me, go one more and I'll be confident that everybody else. Okay, I got thumbs up everywhere. Okay, we can hear you just fine, Mo. Way to go, fellas. All right. My thing was, since y'all brought it up, I want to jump right in and jump on Iron Head. You know, some people even question how Iron Head was bred. You know, some even question how he was bred. Some say he was off of butcher boy. You know, that's a good question, good argument. One of the best dogs of Maurice Carver and his descendants from Champion Ty, Champion Honey, Champion Leonard, Champion Iron Billy, 4 champions, all women. You know what I mean? So you see how he's bred. Black Girl, up Dabo and Black Widow, Blind Billy and Blondie. Even when you look at this pedigree, y'all, you can tell there is a formula. And just imagine how old this dog is that we're talking about. Even back then, you can tell we don't see all the winners, we don't see all the pretty colors, none of that. But you can literally look at this pedigree and tell there's a formula. Look where they got a Rascal, a Grand Champion Toronto's Rascal, being bred to Black Widow. Look how much Black Widow that dog got in on the bottom. Black Widow dog. He had a whole lot of Black Widows in it. Black Widow and Diabo. The thing about it, it had to work. Why would they breed him anyway if it wasn't working? Let's look at some of these pedigrees as we go. We're going to start off with, High's Mini. I'm always going to stick on High's Mini. His Mini goes a lot of directions here. Okay? High's Mini, daughter Lionhead, crossed with the great Carver's Miss Spike. Now, keep in mind, Tudor and Carver, they had to be in cahoots at some point. I know that one time they had a problem, they fell out. But one thing for sure, if there was any dog that they liked it a lot, it would have had to been Diabo. You know what I'm saying? It would have had to been Diabo. Because the combination and the way these dog men was breeding these dogs back then, if you can't see the formula, and it's a formula that even I can honestly say, looking at it, is, I get it. I get it. I can see how they can pile Diabo up and not get it watered down. You know what I'm saying, y'all? I mean, we sitting back here and we looking at Fitzwater's Goldie way back here. And we know what that led to. We know what Fitzwater Goldie ends up going. Look at the bloodlines. This a line of great dogs, and we look at it now because it's part of the past, and we look at it like amazement on, there go Fitzwater's Goldie. Then we can go up there and go into the buck stuff and find Fitzwater's Goldie there. We can go into a lot of great dogs and find Fitzwater's Goldie. And if you look at all the names involved, 90% of the dogs involved in this pedigree are very well established dogs. You know what I'm saying? Now let's go check out her offspring. Miss Pool Hall Red, registered married. Why is she such a standout? Well, you gotta give the credit where it's due, because when we add Boomerang, who was also Arch Missy Littermate, okay, read the highest Mini. Let's pull it up, take a look at it. Again, when we look at this pedigree, we can look at it and say, Diabo is being used like they use Frisco and China meat. Diabo is being used like they do with mating dogs. Diabo is being used like they use Buck over there at Stone City and STP. If you just look at the pedigree and understand what you're really looking at, this is the same type of formula that I be talking about when I be talking about you guys understanding the formula of breed and what made all these other dog men like Hardcore, Stone City, uh, Rebel Kennels, Floyd Bulldog, Pat Patrick, Dan Crenshaw. I can keep on naming anybody who caught on to knowing how to breed these dogs, knowing and understanding the building and the format of producing a match dog. Okay, a match dog. These guys had it down pat. They had it down pat. I mean, I look at this pedigree and I can look at it and I see the way they bred G. I can see the way they bred Red Boy. I can see all the characteristics and just the format and how they do the breeding. You know what I'm saying? Understanding why we can still talk about these very same dogs all these years later. Okay? Boomerang. Hell of a producer. But we definitely understand why. See, when you get done putting all this puzzle together here and here and work your way up, there is definitely the formula. In the end, look how it started working. You got dogs going though.
Hey Mo, while I got you, man, to tell me, looking at that pedigree, how many years you think involved in between that fourth generation up until Boomerang? How many years you think they got invested at this point?
Well, I don't feel like it was taking them long. The reason why I say that, okay, because look, he was shown between 71 and 75. 1971 and 75. Now that's Boomerang. Now, let's keep in mind now, 71, 75, that means Art Missy, you know what I'm saying? Littermate had to be ready to have Snooty as a puppy. You see what I'm saying? Art Missy and Boomerang were Littermate. And Snooty is off of Art Missy. Okay? Trick of it all is it's him and the way they was breeding these dogs to come up with these dogs like Boomerang. You know, if you look at Boomerang's pedigree, man, it's to me, it's sweet. It's just sweet. I mean, you see, there's a makeup here, all down in here, and we make these I make these comments and keep on saying it over and over and over, so you guys can get past just the normal look of a pedigree, but actually look in depth. Go and look in depth. And if you notice, look, sire or grand champion Boomerang, champion fox, champion male, you know, still, he won to himself. This is, so just call his pistol, y'all, 2-time winner. Registered married. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think it was taking him a short period of time. Because everybody on this page down there had a bunch of damn dogs. Everybody on this page probably wasn't going to prison with felony charges for matching dogs. So you talking about dog men who are bringing the dog for performance. Just imagine all the checks and balances that they was doing amongst all these dogs. how selective was their breeding program. I see selective breeding in here. I don't see putting papers together. I see selective breeding. I see smart selective breeding. You know what I mean? Dabo and Rascal. Half brothers. Okay? Dabo being bred back to a great granddaughter. Damn near. Black Widow. Dabo being bred to Black Widow, and Black Widow, Dabo is her grandfather. See it back there in the back? The fourth generation. And if we was to go click on Gypsy, we go further back. They're taking it back and constantly sticking it back up here to the front. And what are they getting out of it? It ain't taking them 4 or 5 years. It cannot be taking them 4 or 5 years to be making these kind of moves here. No, these dudes is moving at a pace because they got a lot of dogs. And to have a lot of dogs, that means you got a lot of shit to put on each other. And I honestly believe that they was putting these dogs on each other. When you're a dog man and you raising bulldogs, and we talking about real bulldogs, you're going to be putting shit on them. You ain't just up here looking around. I bred down with his granddog. I'm going to breed this kid just because he's back there. You know, I just think they're going to do something. No, these are breeding some shit that they done looked at. You don't come up with dogs like Boomerang that produce M. Fox and Champion Nail, and then he'll 2-time win his damn self and not figure being I've done this before and I've had this type of attitude that I'm putting shit down. And the only time you really want to breed some good shit is when you see good shit on your yard. It ain't breeding it because it's got, you know, I got this dog and 50 ladies breed because it's such a good breeding. Hell no. I don't believe they was doing that. I believe they had enough room, enough freedom. You know, even if it was a little illegal, it wasn't illegal. And just imagine the type of dog they was doing. Because these are good breeding. You don't make good breedings on guessing. You just don't make good breedings on guessing. No, I mean, another good cross. She's the damn, a Boomerang. Art Smith, Champion Fox, Champion Nail. Nail. Come on now. That's the female. So imagine that. What was he thinking when he took that dog right there and bred the pistol? What did he see to make him do that? Champion Spike? Or was it that Fitzwater Goldie stuff? Because we know this Fitzwater Goldie stuff was working. We know this because this took off on its own direction. We know that. We know where this going to take us. They wasn't sleeping on nothing. They was on to something. You know? They was on to something. So I believe they were matching dogs, looking at these dogs, studying these dogs, and went along with what they was going with. Because this Merc bitch, when they grabbed Fitzwater's Goldie and bred to Susie, you best believe this move right here liked this dog. Y'all see what I'm saying? You know when they made this move right here, they liked that dog. That's what we do. If that was me, that's what I would have done. You know? You find this stuff in Grand Champion Buckingham. But look at this. got the Lightning, got the Kobe, got the Williams. And you're going to see some old Banner Red up in there. You know, he had to be a good one. He had to be a good one. Tell me that dog don't look like Buck in the face. So that's another point that I be thinking when it comes to progress with success. You know, these are just paper matching. We're talking about in the time that they could get away with some shit. We're talking about the time that they had dog far we can look back in their yard and see we don't see nothing but dog houses and dogs. You know, you gotta go through a whole lot of dogs to find a good dog. And they were going through a whole lot of dogs to find some good dogs. That's just the bottom line. Bottom line. And every one of these damn pedigrees that I'm putting up here on the screen right now, we ain't got outside of the iron head yet. And what are we pulling up? These dogs is producing. First grand champion registered in the damn Sport and Dog Journal. First recognized grand champion was this dog right here. We know his offspring. And we know his siblings. There's Fox, there's me, Neil, and there's Missy. Another two-time winner. There you go. Look at the dog Aunt Missy produced. She's sitting over there looking like Boomerang. Now, you just don't get no shit like this, y'all. You just don't get no shit like this. You know what I mean? Literally. Paper plane. It don't come to us like this. It just don't come to us like this. You got to know what you are doing. Art Missy and Boomerang were bred great. There's no way in the world you ain't gonna tell me they wasn't going through some bulldogs in that yard to put this shit together. Host Jeremiah, Cameron Macho. We know these names. Ramses Artie, Diamond, Philosophies. We know all these dogs. Ty. Yeah, we ain't just talking about Boomerang. We talking about Boomerang Little Mate's sister. Little Mate's sister. Okay? And there's no way in the world you're going to tell me that they were just putting some papers together. There was no way you're going to tell me that's what they was doing. Oh, Maurice Carver. I always felt like Maurice Carver had a bunch of damn dogs. And when I had a bunch of dogs, I know what I was doing about a bunch of damn dogs. Trying to find me a good dog. And I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. When he made these crosses and made these breedings, I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing. Because these dogs are producing match dogs. Understanding how to breed them. Fox, Boomerang, Art Missy, Neil, all litter mates. You don't get that kind of shit paper breed. You don't. These were litter mates. You don't make this happen on some paper breed because there's no paper. This right here in itself speaks a volume right here. This right here speaks volume to me. You know, we got heavy Darbo, and then we got this out right here. Not really an out. You know what I mean? And still produced a grand champion, a couple of them, and everybody, 2 registered mares, Art Smith and him. Guys, this is a long time ago. I pointed this out in dogs like Bozak, guys like Grand Champion, but dogs like Mayday, Yellow, Red Boy, Art, Angus, all these great producing champions and their beautiful pedigree and their formulas. And I beat it in your head constantly. Just constantly beat it in your head. You know what I'm saying? I constantly beat it in your head. You don't make these type of dogs papering up some damn papers. You know what I'm saying?
Want to give a big shout out to my man Bloodthirst, #1, aka Havoc 360, coming in with a 10-piece, showing some love. Appreciate that on the super sticker, fam. Again, fellas, don't forget to hit the like buttons. Look, it's not a matter of how much you give, it's the thought, the fact that you give. It doesn't matter if it was 99 cents, I'm still show you the same love, give you the same shout out, and same much respect. Appreciate that, Havoc. Bloodthirst, do what you do, baby.
Remember, guys, I can say this. I can take this and remember way back here. Eat this generation come up in y'all stuff. What 7th, 8th generation and stuff. But I can guarantee you this shit was moving fast because they had a lot of dogs. They were raising a lot of puppies. You get to a certain age, 2 years old, you know, all you got to do is survive. You run a meal factory and you running through dogs, you're going to be running across a whole lot of shit because, look here, this man was producing a lot of damn champions. We talk about STP and all them, but you start looking at some of these breeds, we talk about Boyles and Mayday and Yabba and all that shit that they was doing. They was doing this shit long before these dogs came along. Imagine the RM list on some real shit, y'all. On some real shit. Imagine what the RM was looking like if we was keeping record back then in daytime. Because they pedigree themselves is like it's like a foundation format for somebody who wants to produce great dogs. And the first thing you got to understand when you look at this production of dogs that he has done, he didn't do it by matching up papers. He had to like the dogs to do that. It would have had to be something for me to go in the house and grab that damn dog pedigree and look at it and say, I like this shit. I maybe need to stick with this and go a little fuck. Just imagine that litter that he had with Boomerang and Archmissy and Fox and Neil in it. Imagine what he was doing. Just think about just being able to have to grab Miss Spike and breed the pistol. What made him want to go grab Miss Pistol? Miss Spike to go breed the pistol. Come on now, think about it. Why y'all talking about that breeding program? That man ain't just no puppy peddler. This is when that man was doing something, staying busy, producing match dogs. He probably got money greedy after the fact, but this right here, this is the man producing a yard of bulldogs. This is the man who's building the structure of the dog game. And all the people behind him, the people involved. Without them, we wouldn't be dealing with these dogs. Every one of these dogs in this pedigree played a factor in the production of what Maurice Carver was coming out of his yard. A lot of decisions being made. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way you can do that without putting this shit down back here. There's just no way. There's just no way. Now he's breeding his winners. We don't see all that back here in the back. And now we see it up here in the front. Now he's putting his 2-time winner of this other 2-time winner. You know what I'm saying? Coming down off his Diabo stuff and producing greater litters. Better dogs. And created a foundation that stretched out many different directions. I can just stand right here on this pedigree alone to point out major facts. We can take this same formula and go build Yellow. We can take this same formula and go over there and build Stone City's dog, Hardcore's dog. Ricky Jones and his way of thinking, his dog that he was throwing. You know when you got a good dog. You know when you got a good dog. The question is, can this dog produce? You got to take the best to the best. You can't go out there and go grab me a cold bitch and go take the thing. I'm going to go breed her to spite. All because this is the only thing I got on the yard to breed the spike. Then I'm going to take her. It's all I got. I'm going to go breed the spike. I'm going to take the regular shit on my yard because that's all I got. I'm going to try to breed some good shit and hope some shit come out. That's the least you can do. That's the least. Why take a dog just because she's bred like this and she's a cold bitch, ain't done nothing, and go out here and go breed her to another dog just because the dog is bred like her? Maybe I can get something. Well, maybe that dog ain't shit. Oh, it'll be a nice looking pedigree for damn sure. But you just bred your dog who ain't shit to another dog who ain't shit either, because you don't know nothing about the dog. You're just breeding because the papers are matched up and you would look like a pretty pedigree. This is not what Maurice Carver was doing. And I can honestly tell you, just by knowing what the hell I was doing, it don't work like that. It just don't work like that. Ronnie Boyle, Katie Marlowe, Dan Crenshaw, they wasn't breeding bullshit. They wasn't breeding bullshit, y'all. They wasn't wasting time waiting for these puppies to grow up and then have a bunch of running around dogs on the yard based on papers. And I guarantee you his trash can was full of trash. If he was a bulldog, man, he don't make them kind of mistakes because we don't have that kind of room regardless of how many dogs we have. We just don't make those type of breeding. It just don't work that way. Shit must be tested. What am I trying to bring to the front if I don't even know what's back here in the back? To bring to the front. What's worthy of me to even take the chance? Percentages and numbers is what we breed for. It really don't take but one to make a litter great. But when you got the right one and you breed it to the right one with the intentions on making something better, then maybe I'm going to have more than one. Maybe my percentages in the litter is a whole lot better, going to be better than the ones that I'm sitting there watching breed because the papers look good. You know what I'm saying? I can speak a lot and say, yeah, I got a dog off a Carver Miss Spike too. But guess what? He ain't Boomerang. He ain't Orange Missy. He ain't Fox. Who said that he would be able to produce like them? Well, pretty sure if you got one, it's because you got rid of it, because you didn't need it. And it would be wise for you to be smart and pay attention to what he was doing. Maybe you may have a chance. And don't look at the paperwork, because he ain't none of those dogs. She ain't none of those dogs. But to breed her with the concept and the mindset that he was doing to create that shit, even the dog you got, you may be lucky. It may have it in your dog, a dog that he got, that you got now because he had enough and he didn't need her no more. Maybe he didn't want her to be there. Maybe he just didn't want the dog. Might as well sell it. Got what I need off the litter mates. Now you got to change. How many guys out there got them type of dogs in the history of the dog game? Is able to get a good dog based on that he had the man have better dogs that he kept out the litter. Just because of that genetic build. You didn't go and don't breed into some bullshit. You went back and tried to breed him like the breeder himself. Take the concept. Unless you one of them kind that want to take what he did with his work and go out here and try to create your own work. Trust me, it very seldom works. He took his shit, played along and understood what he was trying to do. Maybe you could do it and even do it better. You just got to use the right concept of what is the purpose. That means you're doing the same thing he's doing, going through some shit. If you ain't got it to go through, then you better be going to take it somewhere that they doing. No, that's the key pieces to the way these guys were breeding dogs back then. These guys was fighting these dogs like crazy. They was fighting them like crazy. Okay? That's why, I started with Ironhead because I heard you guys talking about Ironhead. You know what I mean? And I just went to one of them. You know, that was Ironhead was a major factor. Could they all do it? No. But that's why we got so many of these breedings that didn't have shit. A lot of them. Look at High Satch. Carver Satch, High Satch. We know where this is going to go. But what about all the rest of these? They were decent dogs. But they weren't history-making dogs. Root and Snake. See that? Come on now. Taking Boomerang's sister, and let's go. We're going Boomerang's sister. Night producing dog. Now, why would we want to breed the snake? Huh? Was there a reason why? Let's look at the formula. Let's look at the pedigree. You see this and get it. Ain't no way in the world you ain't gonna tell me somebody wasn't paying attention. There's no way in the world you're gonna tell me that somebody was not paying attention. Come on now. I gotta take Arch Missy and this bitch is in here. I got to go breed. I got to go breed her. Am I lining up papers here? Am I really lining up papers here? Or am I breeding Arch Missy to this butcher boy dog? Because Norman Hooten is a put it down good dog, man. And I liked that butcher boy shit. But look how it's bred. Look how it's bred. Oh, I'm taking Arch Missy to this dog here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm taking my two-time winner coming out of a pretty good litter that's probably got the talk of the town going on with the dogs that came out of that litter. And that's one badass major decision to go to Norman Hooten and say, hey, I want to breed the snake. I know how snake is bred. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. And they said this Snooty quit twice. Well, guess what? Snooty could have quit 5 times and produced the dog that he produced, and I wouldn't be crying about it. I wouldn't be crying about a damn thing. I got a cur producing better dogs than many of you guys would never understand that you never would have on your yard. A cur. You know? They say Burns and Vernon Jackson say he quit twice. So? Okay? Say he lost game. He lost game to Rascal, and he lost to Obnoxious Ox. Say both times he quit. Well, Obnoxious Ox was a pretty good dog. I mean, Obnoxious Ox has like, well, he was damn near like a Robert T. Let's remind you guys. Okay? Rascal wasn't no bad dog himself. Point is, the genetics in this producing dog, this cur. Yes, sir, I said it. Cur. Let's call him a cur. So we can have all those trolls out there to be quick to say, well, he quit, he ain't. Well, let's not talk about what he ain't. One thing we can't say is he wasn't out there being matched for nothing. You know what I mean? I didn't sit there and watch this man. I didn't follow this dog's tombstone from Alice Brewer's yard all the way up to from Tony Wade's yard all the way up there to Tom Gardner's yard. This cur. This cur. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? You know? A troll would be in here calling him a piece of shit. But the same person calling him a piece of shit couldn't produce nothing in his yard that he's feeding. Nothing in his yard that he's feeding that has such an impact in the game as this damn cur. Pay attention and understand the genetics and the pedigree of what made them take Art Smithy to go breed the Hooven snake to produce that litter. You will clearly see it's a formula. And it's a formula that you can go back into each one of these pedigrees and continue to see. Take that same thought and start bringing the way they bred that dog and bring it up to the front. And you're going to see why you're going to find this cur up there in the top of the registered merit list of a producer of great dogs. Coming down off this cur. Okay? Now that's about the lowest you can go for a troll. About the lowest you can go for a troll to have a reason to talk shit if they had a snooty day. You see what I'm saying? This cur, regardless of what he was doing, he was able to produce like everything else in this pedigree. Y'all hear me? It was the point that I'm trying to make. Now I'm going to get back into the lobby and see. I got to do a stop. Take me back to. Okay, I'm back in. Okay, yeah, I'm back. Okay, I'm gonna go down through here. I'm gonna check anybody any comments, because I don't be looking. This was an article written saying that Snooty was picked up in his 2 dogs. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Atlas said the same thing. Atlas said the same thing. He did not call Snooty a curse. He said he was picked up game both times that he lost. And I didn't even know who the hell Snooty was the way they were talking about him. You know, I'm standing looking at the dog's burial spot on the man's yard with the gravestone. I don't know the damn dog, but I heard enough about him. He talked very high of him. Him and James Epps talked very high of Snooty. And when you start talking about a Nazis ox and then you start talking about Rascal, hey, Chief Red Boy Rascal, we talking about the same dogs? Yes, we are. But there's a formula. After all, history tells us curs and bag seed, the best producers. Not necessarily, Anthro, not necessarily. Now, look, if it was Snooty was on my damn yard, he would be considered made to. I'll put it like that. If he was on my yard, he'd have been made to. Made to is the equivalent of Snooty. Why I say that? Because when I put made to down and he went down, I wasn't going to take made to. Good as he was, he went down on my yard. He got game tested on my yard. That means you did not make the team. If I'd have had Snooty, he'd have been just like Made 2. With the shit that he was producing back then when Snooty was around, Snooty wouldn't have never made it off the yard. He'd have been like Made 2 and he wouldn't have had no wins or losses. He'd have just been a registered mare. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because you can look at the pedigree and see there is a formula. You're right, Breaker. There is a formula. It's there like Jeezy. Yes, it is. And if you look back, I went way back there to the back, way back, way before them, and looked and saw the same damn formula. Right where I started. Remember, I went back. I started with Iron Hand, went back, then came back all the way up. And I'm working my way up. You understand what I'm saying, people? I mean, these lines had one thing that was very common, and that was that ROM genetic. There's got to be a such thing as a ROM genetic trait. Now, feel me? When you're dealing with these papers and you're dealing with these dogs, that's why I always say, don't go grab the paperwork until you see the dog. You see the dog, that makes you want to go instead of the pedigree, especially if you got bitches on the yard. James Jones said, and for the Garner fans, Tom definitely believed in the Snooty dog in his production ability. He sure did. Like I said, I followed Snooty's gravestone all the way from Atlas Brewer's yard in the 1980s. Right there, standing right where Snooty was buried. Next time I saw that gravestone, it was on Tony Wade's yard in the 90s. Next time I saw that gravestone, it's up on Tom Gardner's yard. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to leave Tom's yard. You know, historically speaking, he's in the right place because it's got that Snooty in his greatest shit. In his best shit, you're going to find that Snooty dog. And if you're paying attention to how they was breeding, and you go down there and you start digging all through Tom's shit and why you pay attention to Tom and how he's breeding, Tom has got a job that's easy. Uh-oh, here go Gainesville. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. And we proud to be able to put some more May 2 back in your life, twin. Got a male pup. Okay? Y'all see that, right? Now, you put that on the board, baby boy, to put it out there for the world to see. I was trying to keep it a secret. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like there ain't some going hard stuff still out there. It's still out there. It's still out there. Oh, okay. Uh-oh, he's trying to put up a head for me to go look at. All right, put up. How do we get it? I can put the number. Okay, that's 92. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. I mean, and y'all know I've been diving down to these pedigrees, and I know y'all always hearing Twin hollering. Man, Twin always hollering the formula, the formula, the formula. And the emphasis that I put on it is just drive it home. I'm sitting here trying to drive something home. Guys, pay attention to what they're doing. Y'all hear me? I ain't afraid to say I copy shit. But I'm also proving to y'all that they was copying too. Hey, you better look at it. You see the same formulas way back there in the early 70s, probably in the 60s, then started going into the 70s, and they are copying the formula on how they are breeding these dogs. You know what I mean? That's classroom. Classroom. And the thing about it, they wasn't dealing with federal laws back then. So it was pretty kind of easy. They wasn't dealing with federal laws when Hardcore and them was making they famous run. Stone City was making their famous run. Going Hard made a couple good runs. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the proteges after us that was making them runs. We wasn't dealing with felonies. But we guarantee you one damn thing we was dealing with. We was dealing with checking the yard. We was definitely dealing with checking the yard before we bred our shit. We wasn't just breeding pedigrees because they dog had a real nice pedigree and a couple this move and that move. We'd have them make it even better. No, the hell they weren't. Not the ones that I was messing with. But they were standing right next to me watching me do things that they wanted to know why. Tell you why I was doing it. It's a purpose. Because this is what makes good bulldogs. That's all. Well, I'll be glad when I can just move around in this thing and just really just make it happen like real quick. You know what I mean? But I'm getting it, fellas. Just bear with me. I'm getting it. I was gonna put it up. That's right, y'all. I seen that no Snooty without China Man. I mean, no China Man without Snooty. That's right. No Frisco either. Hey. So I'm up now. Hmm. 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 Let's study this. Let's take a look at this and let's study it. myself already. We're gonna take care of the front, the top side. Then we're gonna dive down to the bottom side. Let's see if we can find a formula in this work. We're gonna find it because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. This is the top. I'm looking at this stuff like, okay, if this stuff was Diabo down here, we'd be dealing with a formula. If he was Diabo, no, let's make Mayday Diabo. If Mayday was Diabo and we breeding this shit, we dealing with a formula down here. Formula. We gonna just suppose we gonna make Mayday Diabo. We can go and we can just use Yellow and Yellow John and all them to like bouncing them. Okay? One thing for damn sure in this formula. This fourth generation is a working generation. A working dog. All this is Mayday. Remember that little out that we had over there in Ironhead, them, that Fitzwater Goldie stuff? This is going to be our Fitzwater Goldie down here. This stuff right here. This is going to be our Fitzwater Goldie. Oh, Gainesville Crazy off of Wacko. Look at that. This is going to be our Fitzwater Goldie. Look at those Bulls dogs. Yeah. We see it in there. Ron Zachariah. We see the Boyle's boat action. We see all that good stuff. And then here's the wild thing about it. We got it all nice and pretty here, but then we kept it lined. See, we're going to keep it lined. See, that's the line right there. See that right there? That's the line breed. Let me help y'all a little bit more when I say that. I just went on here and clicked on her. Let me help y'all. You don't see it yet? Yeah, let me help you a little bit more then. Yeah. See what I'm saying? I'm going back. I'm steady showing you, though. I'm steady showing you. And what are we seeing over here? What are we seeing? Tight. Bunch of tight shit. Look at that Fitzwater's Goldie again. Look at that stabber stuff I'll be talking about. All production lines. All production breeding. All got a formula to it. Everything carries a formula. Guarantee this stuff gonna go all the way back to Maurice Carver in there somewhere whatsoever. It's gonna be there. You understand what I'm saying, people? We taking what they was doing way back then, bringing it all the way up, keeping the same format that shows results. You can do it any kind of way you want to. You can sit there and be sitting in your room all night with a bunch of down papers in your hand, trying to find a good breed and look good. And while you doing all that studying, we doing it in the backyard. We doing it in the damn backyard. Damn them papers. We'll figure it out once we put the dogs that we like. Once we figure out who these dogs is, now we going in the house grabbing the papers. Let's see what we got here. I ain't gonna be grabbing some 10 papers and yeah, we gonna do this and we gonna do this and then go out there in the damn yard and don't come back with 2 dogs I need to pull out. They paperwork. There's 2 out of 8. Out of 10 dogs, 8 of them wasn't shit. All of them had great pedigrees. But when I got done checking this shit out, I only had 2 to make. I went in the house, put together 10 nice looking pedigrees. Yeah, I'm gonna make these kind of breeds. Next thing you know, I go outside and go playing in the yard and come back, and then 8 of them pedigrees is in the trash. You know? How many of y'all doing that? Nah, I know, because back then there was no felonies. There was no federal charges. We was keen to go out there and keep putting our dogs on each other. Keep going out here getting rolled. Get an opportunity to match them. Get out there and win. You got a lot of one-time winners that have losses. You had a lot of two-time winners that have losses. You had a lot of that shit and was still getting bred. Look at these 2. Look at this loser here. Look at that. Look at little Tuffy. Oh, Sam, loser. Blind Billy, loser. Cotton, he likes Snooty, 2-time loser. Okay? These are the losers. All right? Making Tuffy. But guess what? When we talk about these losers, okay? I went and peeled 10 papers in my house of the 10 best bred dogs on the yard. The 10 best. I go outside now, I'm going after the 10 dogs. Okay? Out of the 10, I only had 8 that were worthy of me grabbing the papers. Okay? So there was only 2 out of them, 2 out of 10 dogs that I got that I can take out. But guess what, y'all? I said I can take out. I didn't say, they couldn't even get off the yard. I didn't say that they didn't even have an opportunity to win one match. I said I took those dogs out. That's a whole lot better. A whole lot better than losing in the box than a dog that can't even get out the goddamn yard. Don't be grabbing me no piece of paper talking about he quit on the damn yard and I'm still breeding this piece of shit. I would catch me doing it. I lose in the box. And if he lose, you best believe 9 times out of 10, they lose after they get bred. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go down in that box, you don't know who you're going to. Yes, sir. You ain't gonna know that. You ain't gonna know who you running into. You gotta find out the hard way. You hear me? Yes, I did it. You got to find out the hard way. I'd rather find out the hard way than get my ass kicked on the yard where I can't even take him out. You know what I'm saying? No, I got one quitting on the yard. Yeah, I'm gonna keep him because he bred good. Now how many of y'all out here doing that with your cur? You know you got a cur ass dog, but because he bred good, I'm just gonna breed. Or one of them ones you didn't probably wanted to take a underground look at his ass, and he didn't look that damn good. He even looked suspect, and you took his ass home and didn't tell the soul, and you're out here selling his damn puppy. Because he bred good. How many of we got out here doing that? We ain't gonna have nobody jump up in here and say, Twin, I'm doing that. I guarantee you ain't gonna hear nobody in this damn room sit there and say, I got a cur on the yard. I'm telling you, he's gonna throw me some good dogs. Where in the formula does it say that?
At least they can say he was in the box. If I'm gonna lose, let me lose in the box.
You know what I'm saying? Come on now, y'all. I got to feel the truth. Understand the truth. Look at Tuffy. Look what this dog them sit there and produce, man. Everest Buck, he was a good one. You know what I'm saying? That J. Hall Robert, another good one. The Morphin dog was a good one. That's that Mexican Eli shit. You know, I'm going to get back over to my boys. But what I'm doing here is I'm showing you that even a loser, or even a loser like Bully Son, like a loser like Bully Son Jr., you lose, but you're losing out there getting the work in. You're getting the work in. Hey, when you get out there in that world, man, you really don't know. You might have a damn good dog. Everybody believes. That's how you get these matches together. Somebody lying. But guess what? Give me one of them any day. Give me one of them any day. Then to give me one that ain't seen the light of day nowhere near that box. No. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to work. And I'm proving this point, and I'm pointing this point out for you guys to really understand something. With all this paper breeding going on. I'm going to take you all the way back to where I started at. Started right here with my people shit. I said, this is the Fitzwater Goldie piece. Right to him. I was just on wacko. Let me go get up stat. Yes. You know where it's going to take us. We just got off that block. But look at the pedigree and look at the way it's being bred. You know, Rowley ended up in Akron, Ohio, too. This dog ended up in Akron. He was on the same yard as Maytew's brother. I didn't even think he was on the yard when the dog, Maytew's brother, the dog got off the chain and him and Maytew's brother spent the night. Both dogs ended up dying. But Maytew had a bad brother too. And this guy that had Rowley, he the one that had him at the time that he got, he died out there from a kennel accident. But look here. You see how that stuff is bred? There is a formula there. Good dogs produce. To me, he didn't produce nothing from what I know from up to what my boy had him up there on the yard for, because he bought him from Windy City to get some puppies. What could he do to make the dog better? Me personally, he was just a good stud dog. But what did he really produce? That's why Windy City sold him. You know, my piece went and got stacked and took stack a different way. Take you back where we was. There's stacked down here, being bred to wacko. That brought a little insight in there. You know? And for all those that don't know, let me go ahead and put up wacko offspring. He wasn't the greatest producer, but I know he produced one that I saw go. The Super Crackles Knuckle kicker head. This one right here, I seen him. Yes, that was a damn good cross. I know her. And that's a good cross. So that was a great move when they took her and bred her to Wacko. At the time, Wacko didn't have a loss. And you know who he lost to? Last time out, he lost to Kunta, a.k.a. Little Mayday. A.k.a. Well, we got it. We got up in this pedigree right here. No wonder that shit worked. When you start putting this, you put the real pieces to the puzzle together, the real pieces to that puzzle, you got some damn good dogs there. Yeah, you see it. So you was to change Kunta to Mayday. Litter mates. You got more Mayday up here, Mayday here, Mayday here, Mayday here. That's the closest thing to a growing hard dog that I would want to have on my yard. Possibilities is endless. Because he made it. When as long as you're making it, there's a possibility that you can make it. Good bred stuff here. Me, these dogs right here, you see that, y'all? Now, always, my argument is always going to be, I like the Epinet stuff, but I also like the way they did this cross with this stuff down here at the bottom. Okay? Understanding the formula. You see how they playing with it? But they're keeping it solid. Keeping it solid. And what I mean by solid, they're using match dogs. When you're using match dogs, these are the kind of things that you get. This is the dog to beat heel figure. Right here. That's my people's too. Right out of Cleveland. That's the dog to beat Fat Bill's heel figure. Look how he bred. He's supposed to whip his ass. Not kidding, y'all, but real, on some real bulldog shit. On some real bulldog shit, you know, look at the production, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we know this is Niggerino up here. We know that's niggerino. Look at that. See, the closer we get in the later years, guess what? We start seeing a lot more color to the formula. Remember where we started at now? Way back there, Diabo and Iron Head and them, Black Shine. Wasn't too much color, but now look at it. Now look at the movement. The movement. Was they getting better? Damn, yeah, they was getting better. Yeah, we getting color to these pedigrees now. Smart move. Double bred weirdo. Smart move. Heavy G. Look at those Sparkies. Dog couldn't produce. Hey, look. This is the kill part to me. We had some dogs off of Sparky. I didn't think Sparky was a good producer myself. Me personally didn't feel like he was a good producer. Damn good bulldog. Yeah, we had some off of Sparky. You know? Yeah, my boys was up there. We was all up in them Boyles dogs. We was. Even Deep South went up there and bred the Emmett. They bred some of the Sparky and Wacko. Yeah, that was our little crew running around grabbing up that shit. You know what we trying to do? We trying to put some more rough shit to the rough shit we already got. That's all. Searching for the rough stuff that we already got to maintain that roughness, even trying to make it better. Straight bulldog, but for production wise, I think it was a lot of us that wasn't impressed. You know, and when we say that, we know what we talking about when we say that. Because we done been there and done that. You know, we don't know. We taking the chances like everybody else. Who wouldn't be to a grand champion 6-time winner? Bulls dog. Rough ass dog. He just didn't have it. But we took a shot. But one thing we did do, we got the best thing out of his ass in our pedigree. Ain't that right, fellas? We got the best thing happening in our pedigree coming off of his ass. You know why it came off of him looking like it's looking? Because of this shit down here. This is what helped him. This is what helped him. We got the production back. We got the ROM genetic back up in here. These are the things you must study. These are the things you must understand. You know, I'm a firm believer in that genetic trait of producing. You know, it shows clearly in what they are doing. All great kennels. We talk about hardcore all the time. R&R, great kennel. Talk about them all the time. Had a whole rundown in the journal. Great dog. They were using the best of the best and making breedings with them. You know? But hell yeah, that's something to start with. Like I said, at least they had the best of Sparky. That's all you can ask for. But it's all being set up real nice. This is not something you're doing by grabbing papers and putting them together saying, yeah, this look good. Yeah, this look good. Try this. You know what I'm saying, guys? There's more color here now. When you putting color to something, that means you putting work to something. When you putting work to something, and you keeping your formula, and there is a formula here. There is a formula here. SJ. That's already a yellow formula. All that. From here on down. From here on down. Yellow. From here on up. Red boy. Still dealing with red boy, top and bottom. Heavy. You're going to always find that Jeep in them going hard dogs. They knew that. Got to have a little touch of that in their life. Mm-hmm. I was here on that stage. You know what I mean? All the rest of this stuff is yellow. All the rest of this stuff yellow. Yellow John Jocko. To me, that's where you know, you're seeing a lot of color because I mean you're seeing work. Work. Old black girl. More work. See what I'm saying? What you gonna do with black girl? I'm gonna take black girl and I'm gonna go into this champion yellow dog up here. Heavy yellow. Using Mayday as a backup. Why? Because Mayday is heavy yellow. So that's a heavy yellow cross. Heavy yellow cross. With some buck. How don't work? I wouldn't even say buck. I would say little tater. Mayday got a little tater in there, and then you're gonna have that little bit of buck in there. Because you're gonna have a little buck down here in I made a mistake. Yeah, you're gonna have a little yellow all the way down in here, a buck down in here because of yellow Apache. You know, and then you're gonna have a whole lot of Hollandworth stuff. You're gonna get your Jeep out of this down here. You're gonna get your Jeep out of this down here, and then you got this coming off here. This is the dog we lost the crossroad with. Same guy that had Champion Bullet to beat Fat Bill is the same guy that had this dog here, Outlaw. I actually got this dog, was given to me by he was given to me by my KP. You know, he wasn't a thrill seeker of the wild side stuff, you know. He liked the yellow cross with it, but he wasn't a fan on the wild side stuff. I think it had a little niggerino in it, you know. But what you're seeing is the same dogs that we was back there playing with in those pedigrees, same blood, man. We dealing with the same dogs. We have not got off of these game build dogs yet. We just tapping into them and showing you what's back there. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? But it's still, even when you look at every step that I'm pointing at, you're seeing there's a formula there being added to another formula to make another type of a formula, but staying in the same aspect. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of Finley's bow up in here. A whole lot of Finley's bow. We don't want to say Jeep. We want to say Finley's bow. Even though we have weirdo and all that, we got a lot of Jeep in here. But we got to make sure we get Finley bow in there. You see what I'm saying? Finley bow being bred back to the rascal stuff. You know what I mean? Heavy bully scent. Another thing it shows you guys is we're still dealing with ROM stuff. What is our chances? That's what it's all about. If you got the formula right, you take the chance. Hey, this dog didn't go. He didn't make champion, but he sure lost. He lost the crossroad. You know, but he was a good dog. His match went almost like Gus's did. Opening scratch broke him on the opening scratch. He went up and lock and load went down, and when he hit him, he literally broke his chest. That's what I say. He broke his chest because the poor boy crumbled. He crumbled. Champion Outlaw, another son of Yellow, being crossed with the heavy red boy dog, which is a heavy red boy dog, period. With a little of that taste of Jocko. You know, I always say that Fitzwater goat, he always got that little piece. You know, whether it's up here or way down here, you know what I'm saying? You're always going to find that little piece. Some little pieces that really is the factor in the way these crosses are made. Do they play a major part? Well, hell yeah, because it wouldn't be Yellow without Jocko. Even though everybody think I'd be giving Jocko a raw deal, Jocko is not Yellow. He's not Yellow or Yellow John. I'm sorry. Like it or love it, you know, they were champions and both of them was registered married. Shit. Yellow John didn't need Jocko to make ROM. He was making damn champions outside of Yellow. He was making his own little Yellow John shoe. You know what I'm saying? Wrangler was a Yellow John dog. Vasco was a Yellow John dog. You know, the cross with Jocko, it just produced something better. You can't have Yellow without Jocko. You can't have Yellow without Jocko. So there's just no way that you can X Jocko out of it. But do we make him the major factor in the Yellow? Hell no. Because if Yellow was a Jocko dog, he wouldn't be going 2 hours as much as he was going. If he was a major factor in with Jocko, he would have been a killer like Jocko. He was a game dog like Red Boy. You know what I'm saying? That stand power like Red Boy. Jocko carried something that really helped out a lot. He carried an ingredient to make this dog great. Greater than his daddy. But they was both top 5 on the ROM list. And then when you add Mayday to that equation, oh, it even looks even worse. Because now you got 3 of them up there in the top 5. Yellow might have got bumped down to 6 after Frisco died in there. But guess what? He was up there many years before Frisco got there. There was one time you had Yellow John, and Grand Champion Mayday in the top 5 on that registered merit list. It just seemed like people that was in the dog back then knew how to breed their Jeep stuff. They knew how to breed their Red Boy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just like they knew how to breed that grand champion, like Clayton's Eli stuff, grand champion art. You know, they knew how to breed those dogs. And the reason they were breeding those dogs was because they were trying to get matched dogs. Not because they had pretty pedigrees. They was trying to produce matched dogs. This whole pedigree to me, when I look at it, and that was little Jimmy I just was on, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was little Jimmy, 4-time winner. Another rough one. He had to show his true heart and gameness. You'll find a couple of these kind of dogs out here with this stuff right here in them. You know, you'll find this dog in Screaming Demon. Screaming Demon is a double bred fatty girl dog. Yeah, Gangville fatty girl. You'll find her double bred in Screaming Demon's pedigree. But by this point in time, these boys ain't rookies. You'll find them down there with the Louisiana, Arkansas Combine crosses down in that area. I always made that little funny comment about Kunta not being able to produce, and everybody liked it, this dock dog. You know what I mean? Like everybody liked the crank dog. And I always say it and say it again, you know, now that I know who he was, ain't it funny to how he can produce when he bred into some yellow shit or some Stone City Patrick shit? Because Kunta had his actual first champion was a female. Old Phil had her. She was a Mayday cross female off of Kunta, his first champion, off of a female. A man named Phil in there. What is it called? Damn, Blitz Kennels or something like that. Yeah. Now you want to know why? It was obvious. If Lil Mayday is Kunta, it seems like Kunta can only produce when bred into his own kind. And trying to breed him the boy's way was not much of a success. Like I said, genetics, they speak for themselves. Not taking nothing away from the dog. You know, but I'm gonna always relate to the dog and who he is to me. And I can always look at it and tell based on my experience and understanding why this dog was producing the way he was producing. And when he could produce, what did he produce? He was being produced the way he was actually great. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them. I'm gonna give me a little pup. Heavy bred this shit. I'm gonna get one of these. I got all kind of toys to play with. Thanks, Gameville. Again, I wanted to point out there's a formula. There is a formula. Even though this is an accidental formula because, you know, we wouldn't know none of this now. But look, this up here is the Mayday dog. With all this Mayday going on down here, all this Mayday going on right here, this shit right here is the same thing as this shit right here. Literally. Guarantee you we ain't having no black dog. Guarantee you ain't a black dog popping up in this category. Hey, thanks, Gameville, on that one, man. I enjoyed bringing that one to the forefront. Okay, guys. Yeah, let me go down through the chat and let me see if y'all got something. Yeah, big shout out to Gameville, man, for putting that out there for me, man. I want a bitch, but you ain't got no bitches. You got all males. He said my brother got the tombstone from Tony and he gave it to Tom. Okay, like I said, I know I seen the tombstone. I actually had a picture with the tombstone with Tony when Tony had it. You know, and to be honest about it, I asked him several times, whatever happened to Snooty's tombstone? I gave it to a friend. Well, your brother must know Tony very well because that must be the friend that he was talking about, Anthony. But that just show you how far I go. That just give you an idea how far I go. Talk to Tony. Tony will tell you, I've known them guys down there 40 years. Because he has. If you ask him about Red Ace, he'll tell you, listen to what he tell you about Red Ace. Okay? He has it. He's seen her go. He's seen her go on his own stuff. Let him tell you the story. What made her so good. Bad day doesn't change the fact of what she was prior to her getting there. Okay, nephew, that picture of the dog in the top left corner looks real familiar. Don't it? Oh, okay. I must have missed that one. Okay, y'all, I'm going down through here. The game was there anything down off of Savage? There's a nice Ed Crenshaw influence in him on the bottom. Let's see. And I gotta get with Brody. I'll let you know. Just get with the twin. Oh, that's for sure. Okay, I'm just going down to the chat. Going down to the chat. Shout out to Chico. Chico didn't sit there and plugged into a spot. Way to go, buddy. I'm just going down to the chat, man. Say, twin, you remember the three-legged bitch off him and Stack? Yeah, I remember. Yes, sir, I remember her. She was straight gangster, just like that. I told you, man, I used to tell her she used to remind me of the Jeep bitch, the triple bred Jeep bitch I got. Triple bred Jeep with game just like that. That dog right there had me liking Stack. That's why I like the Stack. I see you, Chico. I will. Thank you. North Carolina tapping in. What's up there smoking? Well, that's a good question. I would definitely tell you that one. You see, my boyfriend's testicles was bitten off by a camel. Okay, that is crazy though. Well, don't we got moderators in the room? Okay. Did I have any Maryland outlaw dogs in the yard? Twin, did you have any Maryland red boy outlaw dogs in the yard? I don't think I ever had any Maryland dogs. I'm trying to remember. There was something I might have had with some Maryland in it. But I don't remember none. I've always been interested in them. I made the connection with the red boy dogs as far as, the Whitley dogs, the outlaw dogs, the Robinson's dogs, the Robinson down there in Jacksonville, North Carolina. They had a lot of red boy dogs, Maryland dogs. And, I definitely knew about them. I definitely knew about them.
Hey, I want to give a big shout out to my man J Rock 735 coming through with a 10-piece showing love. Appreciate that, bam. Big shout out to my man J Rock 735 showing that love.
Game breaker throwing up pedigree. He wants me to go. All right, hold on, y'all. Let me go ahead and do some diving. Y'all trying to work me now. All right, fellas. While we on subject, I will pull them up.
Got another number for you. Okay. 933.
I mean, my point is this, guys. As I'm moving up up down through here, what I'm also pointing out is, look, guys, you notice when you're dealing with these formulas and you can actually grab a pedigree and read it and see it, man, it will make you such a better breeder. When you can see that, it will make you such a better breeder. It will get you to understanding some of the things that you do. Some of that one. Okay, let me go to the 927. Yeah, let me go. Yeah, let me put the first one. Yeah. 113. Here we go, Grand Breaker. GT Tank. Let the steadying begin. Okay. I'm going to start up here. The double bred, the grip dog, the grand champion grip. Good dog. That's for sure. All right. And then the gas and stuff really helps it out for real. You see how they took that stuff, man? They took Macho Buck and crossed it into some Jeep stuff. What Jeep Rascal is definitely because you got Blackjack there. That's Jeep Rascal. And then you got the heavy handicap. Okay? That's the same shit that you see hanging out over there with Gangville and them. You know what I mean? Crossing the red boy and the boiled dog. And that Blackjack stuff, it sure as hell don't hurt. You know? Just want to give y'all insight before I go up there and grab this one right here. This one is already self-made. That is Grand Champion Macho Buck. For those who don't know, that is Grand Champion Macho Buck right there. And the reason why I say the connection is, I always said, when you break a Stone City, when you breed Stone City Mayday crosses into anything, Jeep, Blackjack, you're going to get a bulldog. You're going to get a bulldog. Major factor, he's the major factor to me. I like Snap because Snap is double bred handicap. So you can't go wrong. You got the right bottom over right here, Texas Express. You got all the right moves. All the right moves. This guy right here had to see a whole lot to take his champion bitch and go jump outside and go to this dog right here. He must have knew something about old Houdini, because I'm taking my champion bitch, coming off a grand champion male, all of them female, double bred handicap, and I'm gonna go breed to this dog right here. He had to know something. He had to know something. Because I would have had to know before I would have took my champion bitch to him. I probably wouldn't have never produced this damn grip dog. Because I would have never bred to him. It would have been somebody gave me something like the stock market. Or I would have never, this would have never happened with me. Not with that bitch. But when you look at it closer and you change the look of it and put Grand Champion Macho Bar coming down off of Champion Sable, Macho Buck and Sable being bred together, gives you a different look. Especially when you're trying to come out of a double cross into something different. You know what I mean? And the all ball back in there. Well, let me show you the sweetness of all this stuff. You're gonna see this stuff go back into that Patrick world. Here comes your Patrick stuff. You're gonna have your Eli stuff. Hold on. Keep everybody on the same track here. There's that Ed Crenshaw heavy stuff. Heavy. You cannot deny what you're looking at right there. Not at all. Because there is a formula there. You see it? And all good dogs pedigrees, man. Y'all see this? A Crenshaw, definitely. Him and Jay Crenshaw, probably the most greatest Crenshaws in the dog game. When it comes to anybody, I mean, I wouldn't want my name to be Crenshaw. I'm glad my name is not Crenshaw. Because I would have to always be having to explain, you know, is you James Crenshaw or you E Crenshaw? You know what I'm saying? I'm so happy my name wouldn't be Crenshaw. Because just imagine what kind of feat that I have to do to be able to sit there and say, no, but I'm just as good as them. Okay? You better have some shit to be able to sit there and say that and be proud of carrying the Crenshaw name in these bulldogs. You know what I mean? Better have a whole yard of Crenshaw shit and act like you breeding it to create your own and just keeping the name going. You know? But good cross is here. That's a good cross. Heavy handicap. This cross right here, even sweeter. Now you're crossing your carver stuff. Your bolios, all this is going to turn into carver stuff. There you go, tombstone. You know, these are the dogs that you're going to find in handicap and Queen of Heart. And, you know, this kind of cross right here. But you seeing what they doing? What they doing? They breeding with color. There ain't no more of that a whole bunch of nice red black stuff. You seeing color. Color. So yes, the game it got better. Yeah, it's starting to look better. Because they matching dogs now. Now we reporting matches. And now this is why we don't look like the Carvers and the Earl Tudors. Now we looking like we recording shit. Now the color looks changing, but the formula has not changed at all. At all. to maintain it. As a matter of fact, it makes it even easier for guys because now I could be way in Ohio and looking, I might catch one of these pedigrees in the journal, and guess what? I'm reading formulas too. I might be having to take a trip. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. How else is they getting it? Hey, who sent me that pedigree right here? Game breaker. Game breaker. And again, anytime that you start putting this stuff right here, because to me, there's two good crosses that's still out there when I say Mayday. It's really three. I like the Yellow Man stuff. I like the Grand Champion Yellow Man stuff that's still lingering around. I like the Macho Buck, the stuff that's still moving around in the right way. And then I like the Grand Champion Lucan. You know, they got some stuff still coming around. That Spartacus dog is throwing some nice dogs, and it's staying consistent. You know, I'm not going to act like, you know, Yellow Dog don't exist. I'm going to keep on slinging his name out there, putting him on there. I'm going to keep on saying his name with that Walker Mall cross. You know what I mean? Another point that I was going to tap into, you know, before I shut this thing down, but let me tap into these guys right here. I have a great strand of dogs, okay? I'm going to tell you what makes these dogs such a great strand. That that Boomer dog is an exceptional dog. Exceptional. Okay? It's hard to get great dogs. Here's a great breeding here. What do you see? What do you see? Nothing. Little points that I like pointing out. You know, really, I hate pointing them out, but I have to point them out because it's a trend. You know, I don't have nothing against Pitt Island. I'm just telling you, when you get breeders to grabbing this shit, you're going to find a whole lot of Pitt Island in these dogs. You know, look at it. Old Boomer. It sure as hell wasn't no puppy. Great breeding, right? Because that's Sammy Arab's breeding. He's the breeder. Nope, no, it says Pitt Island, but they Sammy Arab Bulldog. Brother, sister breeding. That's Boomer Jr. Okay, we got 3 pages of Boomer Jr. As we scour down page 1, and while I'm doing this, pay attention to what's going on over here. Okay? Now over here. We're going to do that one more time so y'all can, in case y'all missed that. Yeah, Candy Apple right there. We'll go back and check her out here in a minute. I'll come back to her. That was page 2. We go back and got that one champion on there.
Hang in there, J. We're gonna do you next, bro.
All right. Now y'all know what I said. I said before I even jumped in here, I just wanted to point out something when it comes to the Pit Island stuff. Pay attention, and I was pointing out, I said, pay attention to what's going on over here. Champion Candy Red. Who's on it? My way, my way. Now, it's a lot of good breeding there. Got Boomer up close like a mug. But you gotta go on to Ray Lewis. Another good dog. Can't get nothing out of Ray Lewis. Y'all see what I'm saying? Must I say anything else? Must I say anything else? That stuff doesn't look like the stuff we've been looking at all night. I'm going to leave it right there on that, and I'm going to let y'all figure that out. I just wanted to point that out. There's a difference. There's a difference. When you're putting pedigrees and papers together and stuff like this, trying to produce something, and you're looking at kennels like this, and y'all would think that I'm hating on Pit Island, but I didn't say one bad thing about Pit Island. I'm showing you they work. I don't have to say nothing. I can just show you they work. I ain't got to say nothing. That's a whole lot of goddamn females and a whole lot of breeding going on. Now, if that was my shit, y'all be talking shit about me. Okay? Didn't hear one troll. He ain't got shit. Where they at tonight? Okay, what's the next one, Mike? We're keeping it moving, guys. Yeah, they got a nice formula, but it's a formula for what? You know, I've been saying that just like I used to say the same thing about Walker Mall. You know, I be pointing these things out, and you know, it's like y'all don't like when I do that. Then I'm just gonna start pointing it out to you and letting y'all figure it out. When I pull up y'all pedigree, I'm gonna give y'all just as much time if it's worthy of as I get everybody else. So don't be in a rush.
All right, now this is J Rock 735.
Now here's the thing in these pedigrees. When we do my pedigree, we always gotta go, and don't take this as no personal shot, but for us to understand what you're working with, right? We have to go back to see where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? We gotta work our way back. And then we'll come back up towards the front. Definitely know these guys right here, Flower Boys, they are definitely legit. And they are definitely good dog men. State Property, another good group of guys. They almost like what do you call them, man? Most Wanted. Y'all, a lot of people don't know about them State Property boys. Them boys is matching dogs. And have some decent dogs too. You know, that nature boy, I'm gonna go in and click on him and see what he really produced out here for us to brag about. But I know that there was some pretty good dogs. LA boy Smoking Joe. Tommy Dog Smoking Joe. Same dog. Should be. Okay. What am I going to say, Mike? I'm gonna try out Smoking Joe stuff. Hmm? Is it right here? Well, I mean, I might as well start back here where I'm recognized. I can do Pinky. Get a line on Pinky. Let's see how Pinky is actually bred, y'all. See if we can find a formula. Yes, we can find a formula here on Pinky. You see the formula? Heavy red boy G. Red boy G cross. Red boy G cross. Plowboys. You know, I think Bob Wise, she made the cover of the journal. You know, production. Said Little May brother was the grand champion too. You know, the Plowboys had some good dogs, and they were pretty good friends with Triple M. Yeah, good friends, good dude, good dude. And when y'all look at these breedings and y'all ask yourself, you know, twin, what do it be? What do they be doing wrong? You know, what is it? Well, they got good one here. They got, you know, as you see, you got camps here that's working with their stuff. You know, that's the one thing you're looking for is if you go to look down through here, you want to see work. So you got work, you got work, you got work. They go J-Bo, got the Oreo. Go check out J-Bo and see what he was doing. Let's go check out J-Bo. Okay? Soldier. Yeah, you know, you can expect that from J-Bo though, because look how it's bred. Good bread though. There's definitely a formula. You see the formula. Formula's written all over the place. That was back in the day too. Back from Blackberry. Okay, look out. You always see look at J-Bo. He gonna breed his shit to the champion. Look at that. Uh-huh. The mindset of a dog man. Mindset of a dog man. You know what I mean? You think this bitch go, what you gonna do? What is the mindset of what you doing? Okay. He took this bitch here and he had to go breed to this dog right here. Evidently he liked the dog. And you sure can't go wrong where you going with it. You can't go wrong. Heavy tab on the top. This stuff here, Chicago Bulldogs Mac. Before they got into the Jeep Red Boy shit, they was definitely dealing with the Jeep dog. And as you can tell, this is really heavy Jeep. Definitely a honey bunch. Put it like that, honey bunch. You know, definitely a good cross. Definitely a good cross. To me, you cannot grab this line here, guys, and stay in there like that. You know what I mean? You gotta add that other, you gotta add the option. Let me get back out here and show you the option. Let me take you back to the front. If I was reading this stuff here, my man, Norm Champion Wooly and all those dogs, you know, there's other options. And like this, that was just the bottom. Now we one more. Get out the bottom. This one right here, rock bottom. Rock bottom usually has some real nice bred dogs. We got to do them like we did everybody else. You know, we got to go back and see where we started. Heavy Red Boy, the Wilder, Indy, you know, Turbo. Yeah, see, these here, nice. Okay, that was just the top. Let me click on the bottom next. Okay, another key factor in here. You see that pro set up there, Morocco. That little stepping outside the boundaries here. Mike Stewart Shadow. Like you said, numbers don't lie. There was Champion Merc dog. I heard him. He's up in the Carolinas. That's the same dog. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these were some pretty decent dogs right here. But they was on to something. They was on to something. So let me go back to where we started at. Champion body there. Well, okay. Yeah, right here. Right here. This is where we started at. Now, Slaughterhouse made a good decision when he made this move right here. Okay? 2025. This is a good move. Can't really say much to it, but I can take this pedigree. I'm gonna take a ride with it and get on the bus and say, if I had this dog in my possession back in my time, what would I do with it? You know what I'm saying? What I would do with it is I would be walking around with some goggles, you know, to have the switch that says night vision. In my time, I would find the same thing that you did here to go with the mindset of breeding this dog to this dog, understanding what you had up here, depending on what you had to work with down here to really complete this pedigree, you have to find a better look. You know the lineup. There's plenty of these type of dogs bred out here like this. You know, not like this much, but I'm talking about all this stuff here. You know, this stuff here, not exciting, but You know what I mean? Not excited. It's the 100 red stuff, but it has 100 red in it. And okay, I'm trying to find if I was breeding, I would be looking for not what's going on down here because he made a smart move going to the champion. But you need to get in, and there's so many different other ways that you can go in, like with the Merc dog. You see, it's like it's getting away from the match dogs. See, it was looking good there for a second. See? They're building. They're building. You can't fall off, though. Don't let it fall off. What can you do to spice this back up? Well, there's a whole lot of these red boy dogs out here. You got the Cunningham stuff. You got the Sammy the Arab stuff. Stop riding on the Jeep stuff so damn much and make a stand. You need something different than the old Hunter Red stuff in the there's another lineup, another concession of dogs. You know what I mean? Ruckus. Put some ruckus to that stuff. Find some old ruckus dogs. There's just some other dogs that, this line of dogs is set up because they got the right dogs, but, shoot, you don't tighten up, you ain't gonna have nothing left. All the good stuff is gonna be gone. And that's just speaking on. Remember now, let's keep in mind, I'm taking your dog when I put them up on here. I'm taking your dog and I'm taking them back into my world, my time. And some of these dogs are coming from my era, like Morocco and all this stuff here in Wilma. So I'm gonna take these dogs back here and I'm gonna say, now if I had this dog back here with me, what would I do to bring some life back to this stuff? Not saying that it's not worth a damn right now. I see the ROM on the smiley stuff. And when we look at it, we see the process. There's 3 champions right there: Merc, Bisco, and Tricks. 38, 55, and 26. See, when you look at stuff like that, that's how I would be trying to go. I would be trying to do whatever I see working, knowing that this stuff is on the top side of the bottom dog. What's the body dog? Yeah, old body. I would go back and get body and put more work on body. This dog right here, I liked him. I liked this dog here. But the only thing that I said about this dog here is, I wouldn't ride so much on for people who don't understand this. I said about Waccamaw, I said about Pit Island, I said about some of these kennels. When you're producing dogs and you're not getting what they're getting, why are you wasting your time? I don't want nothing from Pit Island if I can't do what Pit Island doing. I don't want to be walking around here saying that I got a dog off of Pit Island. But then when somebody asks me, well, how is he? He's a good dog. He's a good dog. But is he anything like what? You know what I mean? There's just not a lot of progress when I talk about those dogs. It's not like I'm putting the kennels down. It's not like I'm saying that they dogs and shit. I'm just saying, if I'm going to be feeding some dogs, I have to have production. I don't want to have a yard full of dogs with no production. just because. That just because part is the killer for me. You know, if you ask me, Twin, would you have a Pit Island dog on your yard? I would tell you no. But why? Because there's not enough production. They're good bred dogs, but they're not production. I don't want to take somebody's stuff that they have to breed to somebody else's shit to get something. That's their job. I'm trying to get something that I can breed to somebody else and get something. I don't want to take their shit that ain't producing shit and try to breed to somebody else and say, I got a Pit Island dog, I'm going to breed it like this. No. No, when I go get something from Pit Island, I want some winning shit off of Pit Island. You know what I'm saying? And if I can't see it, then why mess with it? Down the paperwork. Just give me the dog. Same with Walkmore. I say the same thing, not knocking them, but I'm saying Walkmore have all these champions. Fine, I understand that. Great, but why can't I get it? What good is it if I can't get it? Okay? What is it that I can't get what you guys were doing? Why can't anybody get what you guys were doing? You see what I'm saying? We can't even put that on Pit Island because they're not really producing champions any damn way. What I'm saying is, when it goes to breeding stock, coming from a person as myself, and only speaking in my opinion, no, I need, this is not like the shit that we were sitting here starting to show off with. And none of this shit working like the shit we started to show off with. Just making that clear. Study your pedigree, understand what I'm saying, and you know, it wouldn't be like I'm putting them down. I'm just showing you something. If you look close enough, it's a fact. Okay. Okay, J Rock.
Big shout out to my man J Rock. He said, "Hey Twin, I just made that breeding and trying to make better by taking her to body."
That's what I tell you though. I said that was a good move. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. But look, if I was you, I would take that female and make even a better move. You know what I mean? Not just the body, you know, because you got body already. But you need go get you some Sammy Arab shit, bro, to bring back. You know, you gotta go and make that move and go bring it back. Matter of fact, I might be on the wrong dog, but I'm talking about the line that you was messing with. You know, yeah, you want to go back in there, man, and I can't tell you. I want to tell you nothing wrong. Yeah, what this? Was it the one for one? This one was it? This one right here? It was this one. Okay, I the first, so it must have been this. Okay, let me go back up to the 933. I don't want to be talking and I can't point it out. I know what you're saying. I'm glad you was hearing me. Yeah, the bottom would have helped. You know, that was a good one. That's if he throwing. You know, here's my question. You see what I'm saying, Pam? Let's hope. You know, with your little female here, I would have went back to the way the Plowboys was running with their stuff, man. This stuff right here was you know hard. It's hard to talk about when you're not getting the right stuff. But I would have been adding more blackjack and more red boy and the new day and age of the red boy dog. You know what I'm saying? Because it's this dog right here, and you see how he's bred, and I do know the Plowboy. Okay? I'm just telling you. This is the route This is the mindset that I would be working with if I'm trying to produce something on my yard. Now you got the right dog you're playing with. You went and got the right top. You went and got the right top. But I'm telling you, you can make your bottom even better, family. Yeah, you can make your bottom will help the cross that you made right here. Because remember, you got a little out of this breeding right here. You already got this part right here with the body dog. Are you trying to make the breeding? Okay, this one right here. You know, it's just not. It's a one shot wonder. It's a one hit and miss wonder. I mean, you got a female, man, that you can add a lot more to your female. You know, maybe you may be restricted to the area that you in. But there's a whole lot of Jeep Red Boy dogs out here, bro. There's a whole lot of Jeep Red Boy Rascal dogs. There's a whole lot of Red Boy dogs crossed in the bando shit. There's a whole lot of things that you can do with that female to shake it up. But you want to, when you go to breed your female, you know, add a little bit more attention to what you breed your female to. If you really want results, unless you standing there seeing something for yourself, don't pay attention to the paperwork. You pay attention to your own paperwork, and you go try to find something that fits your paperwork. And you know what I mean? Don't try to step out too far. Try to tighten up your side. Your side can take some tightening. And you got you in a position because you got the female, tighten your line up. Don't add other stuff until you tighten your line up. Bring a lot of stuff that's losing in the back of your pedigree. You know, you can find good dogs out there. You can bring it back to the front of your pedigree. You know, you can actually make a better bitch than the bitch you use by finding the right dog. You know? But yeah, you know, this word of advice, you know, because if you can't see the formula being built and you look at that pedigree, you don't see a formula being built, or you really can't see it like I'm trying to show it to you, then stop and pay attention and look at it until you see what can make it like that. You know? Okay, Mike, I'm about ready, man. Anybody got any questions? I really appreciate that, guys. You know, when I go to doing pedigrees, y'all know I get on the bus and I take them back into my time. I don't knock nobody's pedigree. I don't knock your breeding, but what I will do is inform you what works and what you know, what's the advantages of understanding how to breed. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of guys, you know, you want to make great breedings, just study your pedigrees and study them long. Way to go, Anthony. I saw you, baby. Yeah, the Cunningham stuff. I mean, to me, I like that. I like Rutgers. The best Cunningham stuff I like is the Rutgers stuff. Cunningham Arab. Yeah, he has some badass good ones, but I like the Rutgers. Give me some Rutgers stuff. I'll tell you. You know, Cunningham Bear Seaman is on ice. Well, I tell you, I had some my KP. We had bred a female to bear. Yeah, and we took it and bred into some Stone City stuff. Down at the bottom. Hey, Trent, I agree with you 100%. That's why I did not go back with Pit Island for a boy. I took my girl into my Stone City mating male. Okay, then you understand exactly what I'm saying, baby boy. You're right. Okay, now you doing you. Oh, all I can do is say, man, thank you. All you got to do now is just sit back and wait. You know what I'm saying? Sit back and wait. And while you waiting, while you're waiting, you better be looking at Yellow Dog. Okay, you better be looking at Yellow Dog. I'm just giving you. I'm just letting you know, Yellow Dog. You'll be surprised. Gameville. You know what I mean? Them is the move. Go get some of that old. And by you doing that, man, trust me, man. Get on the bus with me and ride with me and let's go make imagination. You know what I'm saying? Game breaker. He's like, facts, Dennis. You're right, twin. The Exodus bitch was used just to double down on the grip. Use the pit island as the out, which is you're dead right. Me, I'll be going back up in there and just pulling up. I mean, I'm getting ready to shut down tonight, y'all. But I would love to, what you do, bro, is go on and just put in foundation Yellow Dog. Foundation Kennels Yellow Dog. And then you go study that one, match it up with your female, and then the next show, come back and let's talk about it. All right? Tell me what you think. Based on what you just told me, what you did with your Stone City Mayday mail to your bitch, come back, go look at Yellow Dog, and let's come back and talk about it and tell me if I didn't do you a favor. Okay? I'm trying to teach you something. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just takes a little experience and a little time and some patience. Yeah, no, yeah. Just imagine you make some of these moves, man, that I'm putting out here, and just sit back and think about it. Just think about it. Look what your paper gonna be looking like. And then look at the dog. Then you go back and look at them papers, and then them papers gonna tell you why you're looking at what you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? No need to look at them until you get the dog right. The dog gonna send you back in there to study them papers. I can guarantee you will see some type of formula. You will get a better understanding. If you didn't, you know what I'm saying? Learn as you do. Just take my advice, go look at it and study. You know, the dog gonna tell you the story. You're already gonna be to another champion. I guarantee you go look at that Yellow Dog, and then you put that Yellow Dog up there instead of the body dog, and tell me what kind of pedigree you see there. Especially using your Stone City Mayday mail. You're gonna like what you see. You know, we're definitely taking the Michael Myers bitch to him. I'm gonna take me some Gameville shit to him. I'm taking all kind of shit to him. You know, he's a stud dog. I'm gonna get me some stud. Shit. You know, I might want to run up a wall or run down a treadmill. You know what I'm saying? Or doing me a confirmation move. You know, it's whatever it takes to make it work. That's all we're trying to do. I'm going to let you know when they hit 2 months. OG, they are a week old. I got a girl for you. I tried sending pictures and a video to your messenger. It wouldn't deliver. Hey, I'm going to do something about, man, where you can, I mean, I gotta put my number back up here, guys, because go try my email. You know the email's on there. Look on the screen. Go with the email. At least send me your phone number. If you want to send me your phone number, baby boy, send me the email. And that game figure talking to me. Dennis Oliver. Hey, chop my email down, man, and send me the phone number. And I'll call you. We can talk about your crosses, man.
Want to give a big shout out to my homeboy, my brother out there, Pit Down. We'll get in the house. What up, fam? All right, fellas, we get ready to close this down. Hey, I started this show out, basically with the name of the situation. First things first. Player's choice. Understanding everything that comes with that, the little detail things. You got them on the yard. You did everything up to that point, and then you just start being detailed. To master something to a point to where you're putting in the work to study part of it. Detail matters. It does, because that's the only way when you got all your ducks in a row that you're going to be able to evaluate your work based on you done took care of all the check marks. The whole body, the whole raising, the whole spending time, the whole everything. Give them that fair chance, because that's what the work is about. That's what the studying was about. That's why you critique your work, because it's still about the product that you produce. That's all we talk about. Putting you on the right path to do whatever you want to do. But the damn dog is always going to be the dog. People are not going to respect just a regular dog. Everybody got pit bulls. But what makes your pit bull special? We come from that world. What makes that pit bull special? For all my people who, donated and everything, good looking out for the fam, appreciate that all the time. Anytime y'all do it, again, it's not a matter of how much you give, it's the fact that you just do. The other thing is, stay true to what you're doing. I'm glad you fellas, I don't know why we don't get nobody never call in and come up in here to talk about this, but we don't let that, we don't frown on that. Just the fact that you guys send your pedigrees in and we can just actually just talk about it. Remember, we only going to speak on, take y'all back into our time, because we don't really get into the now stuff, because the now just ain't nothing to really be talking about, but understanding your breeding and understanding that why you're doing this, that means you might be new to the game out here. All this is new. You're just trying to have good dogs, a good yard, something that you can benefit your enthusiasm when it comes to these dogs. We want to keep your enthusiasm up, because that's what production does. That's what performance does. Good dogs speak for themselves. Good dog will make a person want to know how that dog bred. The player's choice. You got to understand the player and why he's making the choices. Remember, they've been doing this long before us. We started out way back there at Ironhead, and pretty much everything that we done pulled up tonight gonna take you back. And we work our way forward, and everything gonna have some type of cohesion in there. We're gonna always take y'all all the way back. But then look at this, look what you're doing, and then look at what the successful people who have already done. Go look at what they did. If you're looking at what they did and y'all using damn near the same thing, if you go back and just want to know where you're at, all you want to do is bring back what's back there and bring it to the front. It's still going to be your sauce, your magic, and your creation when it comes down to working. We preach that consistently around here. Do what you've already seen done, because that's how and why these dogs survived all these years when it came down to the match dog, a particular line of dogs. Just look at and see what they did. Why are we talking about? What made them stand out over all the bulldogs in the world? And we can talk about these. Look at why. Understand that. Make that a part of what you're doing. So now you're making it yours. Yeah, Tom pretty much got that shit down pat because he's Tom Garner. Been doing this for quite some time. He's done made a name for himself. But hey, anybody can do Tom. And when I say anybody, that I'm taking that when I say anybody, you're putting in the same amount of work, gathering up the same type of knowledge, understanding the sole purpose of the formula and why you're doing what you're doing and what you expect out of what you're doing. And you know, you've done all your homework, you did all the right things, you checked all the boxes. There is no damn reason why you can't produce the same way they do. It's more than just throwing dogs together. Dogs got to have a purpose. Hell, if you make a name for yourself, hell, then maybe you could do like the Maurice Carvers or some of the other people. I don't know what it's felt like to be in a position that I can't supply enough dogs because we just never was selling. We never was out. We wasn't breeders to be selling dogs. But for the new generation, if you got good dogs and good performing dogs, you might find yourself in a situation where everybody wants your dogs and you ain't got enough dogs to give everybody, and ain't no telling what you do because money make people do strange things. But then that's what that's what the work's supposed to bring you. Supply and demand. Good dogs gonna bring good people. Good people gonna want to have good dogs. The same way you out there looking for that perfect dog, that one that's gonna fit your program. You want to be that person that everybody looking for because you have what they need in their program. We call it player's choice based on the player gonna always decide what he needs and what tools he wants to play with. You're just the player. Now, based on the choices you make and how you do it is what makes different players, play the game the way they play the game. We just go back and we talk about all the ones who have already did it. The blueprint is already there. The format is already done. You even get a chance to see the outcome. And then get a better look and say, well, they did this, and then these people, they did that, and these people did that. You can see it for yourself, and then just ask yourself, what makes you different? Nothing. So y'all help me out tonight. I appreciate everybody for showing up and showing out. Just show me some love. You know what time it is. All I'm asking for is some damn thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Muscles. Now, give me some damn roses. We need them damn roses. Show some love, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, give yourself a hand. Come on, I know we got more than that out there. All you got to do is just go in that little typewriter section and hit them damn muscles and them thumbs up and them roses, and we're going to get out of here. But goddamn, show me some love. Show me some love. Look.
Man, I'm waiting on you, man. I'm waiting on to see what your fingers going to do, man. I'm looking at the chat now. I'm looking at back. Where you at? I don't see your hand on it. Oliver, where you at, baby? Yeah, Oliver, where you at, baby? You gone yet? Let me see you, man.
Hey, where you at, man? Hey, come on be here, man. Give my love, boy. What's up with that? Yo, Oliver, you ain't going, is it? Come on in here, man. Give me my hands up. My thumbs up. I'm muscles. Where my roses, bro? Hey. Hey, baby. Where you at, man? I don't see you, girl. Hey. Okay. I guess we're going to stick around and wait and see what happens.
All right, fellas. Appreciate that. Pit dog. Love you, bro.
Love you, Pit Dog. To the fun, baby.
Hey, MB45 showing the love like you always do, fam. You got it, baby. You got it. I see you, fam.
MB45, what's up, baby?
All right, fellas. Before we get out of here, you know we're going to be back here Friday. So look here. Stay safe. You know.
Hey, don't get my prayers, Mike. Don't get my prayers for my team 5:30.
Yeah. Public service announcement. Mo going to the hospital. He'll be in the hospital Thursday. Hopefully we'll have it back by Friday. Hopefully, but in this case, I'm gonna step in. But everybody put up your prayers and everything. Give a big shout out to my brother. You know, every time you gotta call up under that knife, you know, they put you to sleep. You gotta pray to God that He bring you back. But that's something you want to do, but it's something you're gonna have to do. So everybody just give me a little extra prayer out there, prayers up to it.
Yeah, appreciate it. And all prayers,
Prayers are always going to be appreciated. You know how we do it.
Thank you in advance. Thank you in advance.
Big thanks in advance for why you're getting up out of here. You don't know what time it is. Regardless of how you do it, what you do, and when you do it, don't pay attention to what everybody else doing. And enough time in your day to do that. Pay close attention to what you do. How you doing. Keep all that shit right. And just make it a part of your everyday living, man. The things that matter most. Supposed to always. I mean, goddamn, you're supposed to always
Crash the win, baby. With love, man. Shout out to my boy Gameville. Thanks for stopping in, man. Everybody looking for that going hard stuff. I kept telling them it was still around out here. I'm glad you brought it up here to let us know something, baby.
Well, all right, fellas. So I get ready to close this down. I guess we're gonna be like, let's see here. How do I do that? Hey, man. Well, until Friday, everybody stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll see y'all then. We out here. Like,
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard Kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Bred, the very first champion off-brand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, and Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.